Hey everybody, it's Mike.
And I'm Tim.
And I am John.
Yes.
And this is the Board Game Rundown, and we are live from two of our basements because we cover games from top to bottom. John, I'm guessing you are not in a basement.
No, I'm in my office / bedroom / terrible games HQ.
Nice. That sounded intense. Like really terrible games HQ. Because they're terrible.
I like that.
And they're games.
Yep.
I love it. I think of with correct me if I'm wrong, but I think when you use terrible, it's more like the Lovecraftian ancient terrible things terrible versus like, oh, I just watched the new Saw movie and it was terrible.
Well, they are terrifyingly good.
Yeah, there we go.
Yeah.
I like it.
Games so good they might scare you.
I like it. I like it.
Yes, sir.
And you do have at least in the two games of yours that I've seen, they do have a dark theme, so I can dig it.
Yeah, it's a weird kind of thing when the owner-operator of a board game publishing company is also like a horror nerd and a metalhead.
Yes.
A lot of our games have a certain quality to them.
Dude, I can dig it. Yeah, we you'll get along very well here with us.
I love
you've
both
got
of those
I've watched
things.
the show.
You've got a horror nerd and a metalhead right there.
Yeah,
So-
and
we're gonna have fun, guys.
I love horror, but I'm not as well versed on it, unfortunately. But I do love it. So we got a guest, obviously, guys, tonight. It is John de Campos. He is the designer of Black Mold, which you saw us cover before. He's got a new game hitting Kickstarter next Tuesday called Valka, and we're going to be covering that one too. Yes, sir. There it is. I absolutely love that art. It is striking and violent, and I love everything about it.
Da, da, da. Yeah, the artwork is pretty badass. I will tell you that for sure.
That's not my work though.
No, totally fair. But you are pushing it out. You put your label on that, man. And I just when I love the way a game looks, that goes a long way. Like that box art, all that card art in there.
Mm-hmm.
Like I could just look through those cards like all the time. Like they all look great.
That's exactly why we are releasing this game. This is our first licensed IP. Typically, I do most of our artwork because I'm a freelance illustrator. But I was just stopped in my tracks while I was doom scrolling, and I saw Brooks' work and just reached out to him and was like, "What's your plans, man? This looks awesome. I don't even know what it is, but like if it's a game." If this is a game, I want to if we can help you bring this to market, if we can collaborate and we can team up on this, I'd love to do it. And we're launching in like a week. So it's been like 3 years of us developing this game and like sort of getting through this process with Brooke. And like, I'm really excited and also, a little nervous to see how we end up doing on launch day and getting this thing out to people.
Hey, launch day is the worst day. It's either, not fast enough, or it's like so fast and you're like, oh shit, like where is this happening? You're riding that rocket.
I would love to fund in the first 24 hours. That would be amazing.
Dude, that'd be great. That would be great. We recently just did a video for the Saw game that's coming out, and that thing funded in I think it's mostly because it's Saw, like a well-known IP and everything. But I mean that thing's funded in 15 minutes. I mean it was nuts.
Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah,
it had a low level also. This isn't a dig on anybody. This is just the way it is sometimes you manipulate the market a little bit by setting that low target number, even though that's not your real number to be able to make the game. But then for whatever reason, the psychology with people is seeing that game funded in 24 hours. And then for whatever reason, they're more likely to back it. I don't understand it.
Well, I mean, because the risk is basically finished, right? I mean, there's no more risk because they're fully funded, provided that you don't have an intimate knowledge of what the actual numbers look like. Because we've seen campaigns where they ask for 35,000, it's a AAA title or a AAA
Mhm.
close title. They ask for 35K, they're at like 135 by the end of the first week, and then they pull the campaign because they were supposed to be at like 500K.
Yeah, there
But
was a Harry Potter
right?
game I think that
Mhm.
did that like a year ago, and they scrapped, relaunched, but it was like mega funded, but not enough. But what I don't get, because here's the thing with Kickstarter, I backed a ton of Kickstarters that never funded. It's not like I was out any money, so I still. I mean, I understand what you're saying, but I never, and like Dan, we used to have this joke on the show and we covered a lot more, like kicks. We just talked like more news and upcoming things on Kickstarter and stuff without having stuff in hand. But we always would say, oh, it's funded, so it's safe. But it's like, that doesn't make any sense. It's the ones that aren't safe are like like Darkest Dungeon, which, people only get some of their stuff, or, some of those other campaigns that went epically long, Doom that came to Atlantic City, the Terminator 2 game, the Evil Dead game got bailed out, but the Evil Dead board game was one where people backed, it funded, and then the company goes, tits up, and then you can't do anything with it. So
Yeah,
I just never understood that psychology.
Yeah, I don't either. Honestly, I wish that we could go the route of, say, a Stonemeyer Games and just put our games up on our website for pre-order
Sure.
and then turn them over 3 months later. That'd
Right.
be great. But the social spread and the marketing budget of a company like ours just doesn't have the ability or the safety financially to do stuff like that. So
No.
for us, yeah, Kickstarter and to not a lesser extent, but to a different extent, your backer kits and your game founds, that
Mhm.
kind of stuff. Yeah, that's where we're gonna live for a while. And the other thing to understand, especially about all of these crowdsourcing things, is like first and foremost, at this stage, it's a marketing tool. Like
Yes.
that's the
Yes.
main that's the main thing. Like you're gonna be able to spread your thing to people outside of your sphere a lot easier through these platforms because that's what the platform wants it to do. And as long as the interest is there, then you can turn them over, and hopefully you get some new people on board, and then you got a funded project, and that's nice.
Right. And I think honestly, I love Kickstarter. I think it's awesome. It helped early on in my love of the hobby. It helped fuel my fire for it, just because of the FOMO, the excitement of being able to get in on the ground floor on a game and like get all this extra stuff with it, and I've just got it all. I spend this money, yeah, I might wait a year, but or in some cases 4 years, but I get everything, and I'm super excited and I'm pumped. And then, you see like, I don't know, I'll say it, Simon or Queen Games, and it's like basically, their pre-order system, and it's
Oh yeah.
like, I just kind of wish that they would go the way of Stonemeyer and just sell their stuff because they can, and then make room for all the indie guys and girls, indie people, and be able to put out all their stuff, and get the attention they need, because there's nothing worse. Let's just say like, oh, we're gonna drop Valka and it's gonna be next Tuesday. Everybody's ready, and then Simon's like, and we're dropping Harry Potter Zombicide. And you're like, well, done. I got to move it a week. I've got to move it a month. You're going to get drowned out.
Yeah, that's the nature of the business. And I mean, like, fully, I'll acknowledge, I mean, Deceased is coming out in November. And there's going to be people who are already like fanboys of Come On, and they love Zombicide. And, I was actually thinking about this. I was listening to, I was listening to a YouTuber who was talking about, like, don't back these games. Like, don't back these games because you probably have a pile of games you haven't played and all the other things. But I'll always play a Zombicide. If Simon comes with a project, I'll always get a Zombicide because I love Zombicide. And I came to this realization, and I was like, hobbyists in the scene right now, every game that they back on Kickstarter, not only do they want to be a part of a community, they're also secretly gambling on the outcome that this next game they get from Kickstarter, from this creator, is going to be that game that defines them. That is like, is their thing that they show other people, that they're proud to own before anybody else. It's like chasing that high of waiting for that Kickstarter project to arrive and seeing if it adds up to the hope and the vision that you had when you were sold on it initially. That's a huge part of the hobby for me. I'm a hobbyist also, and a creator. And part of the reason I back indie pubs and also huge AAA games that make millions on Kickstarter is because I want to get the game directly to my door. I want to open the box. I want to get all the components out. I want to look at it. I want to be excited about something, you know?
For sure. Now, look, I complain about it, but like Eric Lang puts out a CMON game, I'm backing it. You know what I mean? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like it's,
Stuff.
I complain, I groan, and stuff. But at the same time, yeah, there's definitely times where it's like, no, I want this because I know I want it. This is a great opportunity to get it. Maybe a little bit cheaper. I don't have to go track down all the extra stuff later. You know what I mean? They do entice you with the Kickstarter exclusive stuff, blah, 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 all that FOMO stuff. That's for real.
You
so I
have
do.
To, look, it doesn't matter who you are. It doesn't matter who you are in the industry. You have to do that stuff now. There's so many people. There's so many people in the content creation space right now who are giving you top 5 reasons not to back Kickstarter campaigns because you can get it cheaper. You can get it in the aftermarket sale. You can get it in retail. You can do all these things. And all of that is great. However, it's a little bit of a problem when like all of the indie pubs are also like expected to meet the same like quality and output
right
of these big titles that have these insane resources.
Yeah. Why isn't your miniatures tooling as fast or as good as CMON's? Come on, man, come on.
Yeah. Well, also a lot of them are making bank on bloat as well. Some of it is not always substance that translates to a better game. So sometimes it's just a lot of plastic and a lot of cardboard that doesn't get played. But it also, you have to kind of be selective. I also like to have a collection that's different than my friends. I try not to back the same games that other guys in the group do. I've always tried to do that. So my collection is at least a little different. But man, when you just play that one game, you're like, wow, okay. And you just instantly buy it.
It's finding that band that is awesome and is going to be huge,
right?
But nobody else knows about them yet.
Right. Yeah. You're that guy. You get to show it off. Now,
like,
John,
there's a discovery aspect to it. I do agree with your part about like the high. The one you really got me with is the high of finding that next game that just like you're, whoa, this is the best game I've played in a while. Like, okay, this is awesome. That feeling is the one I crave more than any. I'll agree with you there.
I visited that feeling recently with Endless Winter. Like I had heard a bunch of different mixed reactions to it. People talking about how this is a game with just 5 mechanics sort of clumsily mixed into one box. The setup is crazy. And those comments aren't completely off, but I finally got it to the table with 4 players. And by the end of it, I was like, I want to go again, dude. This is cool. There are so many different decision paths you can take in this game. And it really did. I was immediately just like struck like, this game is great. I want to play this one more time, like immediately.
So, John, I got to tell you, I was one of those people that wasn't sure what to think of Endless Winter after one play. It didn't rock like other deck builders do. It's definitely got its own different paths. For me, I struggled to find a strategy with it, and I know I just have to play it again because it's got a lot more depth than other deck building worker placement games. What's funny is this is the first time I've hid the Resurgence box in a while. We had Stan Kordonsky in our Gen Con booth, and I got to interview him. Cool. And I asked him about the best expansions to add. And he said it's the one that makes the monolith stronger. And I'm sorry, I don't remember the expansion names. And the other one is the one that has the roll and write element to it. They're like drawing stuff. Anywho.
Before we get like actually on track and talk to John why he's here, John, you said you're a big fan of Zombicide, so I got a Zombicide question for you.
Oh no, I've actually never played Zombicide. The only CMON game I've ever backed is Mordred.
Oh, you haven't played Zombicide? I thought you said you were a Zombicide fan.
No, I was telling a story about somebody else.
My bad. Well, then I won't ask you the question.
Okay. Sorry.
No. It was just in the original version of Zombicide, there's this garbage shooting rule where if you fire into a group of zombies, but there's a human or survivor there, if you hit the survivor first, always. They changed that rule when Black Plague came out to if you miss, you hit the human, which makes sense. So that rule almost stopped me from playing Zombicide until I heard that Black Plague fixed it. And then, because, or we would just house rule it, because it's like, that's the dumbest freaking rule in a game I've ever heard. So, anyways, that's all. Miner's Homicide rant done. We can get on track. John, you said you're a metalhead, dude. This would be more for Mike than for myself, but like rattle off some of your favorite metal bands.
Oh shoot, man. I like Evergreen Terrace, Judas Priest, Iron Maiden, Metallica.
Oh, some classic stuff in there.
Veil of Nath. Oh my gosh. Within the
Wow.
Ruins.
Oh, I love Within the Ruins.
Yeah,
Excellent,
Within the
man.
Ruins fucking rules, man.
Evergreen Terrace is one I haven't heard of in a while. That's
Yeah,
a throwback, man.
That's like early hardcore, but they were doing some metal stuff. They did some really cool stuff.
Man, that was like 15 years ago. I was listening to those guys. Wow.
Skeleton Witch. I love Skeleton Witch.
Okay.
Ooh, let me think. I mean, like Sabbath, Ozzy. I've been listening to this band recently called oh my gosh, I had them right on the tip of my tongue. It's a stoner metal group out of LA, Death Chant. I've been listening to
that
Death
one
Chant.
I haven't heard of.
Dude, go listen to Death Chant on Bandcamp. I actually don't listen to a lot of Dream Theater. I really should, because I've heard good things.
Nice. Tim, is your phone by your?
Is it making noise?
Ticking. We got some ticking. Yes, we're
All
good
right.
now.
Okay.
I can tell every time you put that thing close.
It wasn't.
Sorry,
that close.
audio interruptions drive me nuts.
No, it's good.
Great choices. Within the Ruins is excellent. That's one I really need to see. I've become a really big fan of metalcore and modern deathcore.
Yeah.
Shadow of Intent is probably my all-time favorite band right now.
Okay. I'm writing this down.
I might have sent you these a long time ago in Messenger and you forgot, but it's all good. It's been a long time since I first initiated a conversation with you. Well, it was when Black Mold came out, which that campaign was a little over a year ago now.
Yep. Actually, it would have been like, it would have ended like 3 or 4 days ago. It would have ended like around that. Yeah, like a week or so ago last year.
So yeah, a little over a year ago. Speaking of metalheads, we got a couple others in the house here. We got Jim. Tim, we got clicking and distortion again.
Again? What the heck?
Yes.
All I did was turn like 4 degrees.
Okay.
Is it still doing it?
At this angle, yes.
That's so weird.
Noah's a metalhead. He's got his own band. So does John. John, I haven't asked you about your band. You play guitar, right?
Yes, I play guitar in a progressive deathcore band called Blight Beast.
I like the name.
You're gonna have to send me one of those tracks.
Also, I'm just really quickly, as long as we're listening up, bands, everybody go listen to Necrogoblicon.
Oh,
listen to Necrogoblicon. Listen to Early Man, Unleash the Archers. You can listen to my stoner metal band Haze Mage. Green Lung is great. Green Druid also, more stoner metal, man. I go all over the different universes of metal, but I'm in a deathcore, like grindy, fast, technical group. That's Blight Beast, and then I play drums in Haze Mage, which is a stoner doom band.
Nice. This guy's all over the place. I love it.
No, it's awesome. Mike is our metal guy, and so usually if I get somebody talking about movies, Mike just has to sit there politely while I go back and forth. And I was like, here's my chance to throw Mike a bone, because Mike's gonna know all about this stuff. But when we had Jim Cole on, Jim's a metalhead, you know, and so which congratulations, Jim. Successful Kickstarter funded today, so good for you, man. Good game. Congrats. Super excited to see it. But yeah, so I was able to, like, whenever I can just throw Mike a bone with something like that, I try to get it.
Oh yeah. As I Lay Dying, I've seen Lamb of God several times.
Oh dude, yes, love Lamb of God.
Yeah. Oh shit, of course I start drawing a blank. I've been listening to Angel Maker lately, which is really
Mm.
good. Born of Osiris, if you like
Yes,
any.
dude. Oh, yeah. They I know
Oh,
those
and I
guys.
finally got back. I'm finally convincing myself to listen to Lorna Shore.
Oh,
Um,
yeah. I'm a little lukewarm.
I
TBH.
know, me too. So I'm trying to revisit them because like everybody loves them, and I'm like, why don't I like Lorna as much as other people? They do a lot of stuff I like, but I don't like them as much as other bands. Shadow of Intent, I think, is far superior to Lorna Shore. So you gotta check them out if you like
I'm going
everything
to.
else I've
Yeah, I'm
mentioned.
always looking for new stuff to listen to.
They're incredible.
I'll let
I
you
really
know when
like.
I'll let you know when we get the Blight Beast record out. I
Nice.
think you'll probably dig it.
I really like technical solos, tempo changes, atmospheric stuff, symphony added to it. That's even better. So,
Hell
yeah, I
yeah.
love that kind of stuff. There you go, Tim. Appreciate it.
Hey,
So, what are you drinking though? We're
I,
20
I'm,
minutes in. We haven't even
I'm
asked.
I'm finished off this Elijah Craig. I got the last bit of it in there.
Oh, let me take my koozie off really quick. Let me just remove that.
It's great.
This is National Bohemian beer. You see that mustachioed man on the can?
Yeah, looks like the
me.
Pringles guy. Oh, is that you?
Yeah, they put me on the beer can in Baltimore.
There you go.
This is a Baltimore local beer that's basically Coors Light, but it's a little sweeter. You can get a 30 pack for like $19.
Oh, hell
And,
yeah.
and I'll tell you, just because it's cheap doesn't mean it's not good.
You were talking to somebody that drinks cheap beer and cheap whiskey. I'm here for it.
Well, I couldn't make it out to the store this afternoon to go get a little pint of something brown. So instead, I am having some light beer. But I'll tell you, I'm 3 deep right now and I'm feeling it, boys.
Nice. I love it. I love it. You're ready to go. Loose.
Nice.
Now, do you
Yeah.
like John Waters? He's from Baltimore, filmmaker.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I
King
know.
of Phils.
John Waters is the king of Baltimore, basically.
He
I've
better
met him
be.
once. Nice guy. Yeah.
Oh, I love him. I love him. He's so awesome. I love him. Big fan. And then
One of our best.
also I guess Edgar Allan Poe, right? He's buried there.
Yes, he died here.
Ironically, probably something to do with alcohol, which we are doing right here, right now.
Well, the last bar where he was sighted alive is called the Horse You Came In On. It's in Fells Point. They still have cobblestone streets down there, and apparently he choked on his own vomit in the gutter right outside the front door of a bar that still stands to this day. You can go in there and be annoyed by a bunch of tourists and young people being way too fucking loud.
Yeah, that's one that I could just like stand outside and get my picture and then just keep moving and go to like a much cooler bar to have a drink in.
Sure.
But I would want to see it just to say I did. But I also would try to not be as obvious about it.
Yeah.
I've never been to Baltimore. I've been to DC a couple times.
Everybody always goes to DC. Touring bands, especially, it's a point of anger for me because I see bands that I like. I see indie bands that I really like that are touring, and they always go to DC and don't visit Baltimore because I guess they have to choose between the two, and they always choose DC, which I find crazy because the music scene in Baltimore, from a completely biased opinion, is just a lot more robust, a lot more active. I played a couple shows in DC. They've always been kind of a mixed bag, but yeah, Baltimore's always getting overlooked.
And then you also got The Wire. The Wire's in Baltimore. Come on, man.
Yeah, The Wire.
Awesome. Oh no,
yeah, really good show. Oh no, it's a great show. It's one of those things that is anytime Baltimore gets brought up, it's like, and The Wire, you know.
Oh sure.
Like,
well, hey, I led with John Waters. I led with the best one.
There you
go. So Wayne, one of our friends, he said his favorite game store in the country is in Baltimore. Games and Stuff.
Yes, Games and Stuff is a good spot. Those guys rule. Very, very good. They carry some of our stuff.
Even better. Even better.
So well, speaking of game stores, if you didn't know, our regular show is in the back of a game store. So it's actually the inventory area, and our studio is back there.
Our studio got,
and
the
so
back room is, their studio has taken over the back room in the game store, which then they had to move all their storage to other places so that we could
so the game store
film.
owner said, let's start off some YouTube channels, and Tim took him up on that idea.
Hell yeah. Somebody says, yeah, you want to talk about board games? I'll get you the cameras to do it. Well, yeah, I sure do.
Nice.
So listen, when opportunity opens a door for you, you just got to walk through it.
Absolutely.
But all right, Mike. So what's the reason for the season? Why are we here tonight? Let's get on the rails.
Why are we here? We have a fun topic tonight. As always, it was picked by our guest, John. John picked the media role in the board game hobby, and the effect that content creators maybe have, the relationship that they have with the people that play games, the people that make games. John, what was your idea for this topic, and what made you pick it?
Well, I'll be honest with you guys. You all probably remember a lot of controversy that came up around a certain content creator by the name of Quackalope, as it involved a campaign and some alleged accusations of blackmail and things like that. And Jesse is somebody who I consider to be a friend, and he recently released a series of videos where he is unpacking all of the kind of awful things he's had to deal with in the wake of that situation.
Mm-hmm.
And amongst all of the controversy that happened back in the summertime, I think,
back in May. Yeah.
Back in May, every content creator from A to Z, small and large, came out of the woodwork and had all kinds of things to say about it. Now that he's on his channel doing a series of videos where he is literally pouring his heart out, nobody's saying shit. And I just find it kind of funny that we see behavior like that and all of this judgment surrounding a person who has to take 3 to 6 hours to learn and play a game multiple times, shoot probably 4 to 5 hours of footage, B-roll, edit that. This is all time. And they also have worked over the last 4 years to garner an audience that it's worth it for publishers to be able to put their games in front of that audience. And there's all this conjecture and all this argument and all this line in the sand drawing about somebody accepting, sponsored content and being paid for their time, their expertise, and their skills. And in the meantime, you have this relationship with publishers where all they want to do is just get their game in front of people. And the means by which they do that shouldn't contend with the viewpoints of people who are outside of the industry, who are drawing these conclusions based on the position they have about who should be receiving what money for what thing, and trying to dictate how people live without like an understanding that like adults can have freestanding objectivity when it comes to these things. I mean, you talked about it earlier where you were saying like, yeah, you come on the show, we really like your stuff, but if you put out a game that's kind of shit, we won't like sing its praises, unduly. We won't like make shit up. But, we would maybe be a little bit lighter. We maybe, there's different ways you can handle it. I mean, it is about relationships, right?
It is. I mean, here's the thing is the second that 1 cent crosses the counter and goes from you to me, we have to and should. And I feel like to be fair to Jesse, I feel like Jesse's always been pretty clear. You have to disclose that, right? Hey, this is a paid thing, but there's also a difference between a paid content and to me, a review of a game. So paid content will never be a review for us because that can color objectivity. I'm not saying it doesn't. You are 100% right. Adults, we should be able to just say that we want to be objective, but we get Kickstarters all the time, Kickstarter previews all the time, right? And some of them don't land as well as others. Now with those, we try to either just say like if they don't really land with us, depending on the level of how bad. So if it's really we just don't dig it at all, we just don't do a video. We just don't. I pass it along. I'll reach out and go, hey, sorry, it wasn't for us. We can send this on to somebody else. What do you need us to do? Please consider us in the future. Because I no interest in burning bridges, because not every game is going to be a home run. You never know. They might have the next one. But if there's a game that we're kind of like, there's really some good things about this, but I didn't love it. Like, because we will then just explain the mechanics of the game, talk about some of the things that are unique to it, make it different some of the other games, and then just kind of move along. Because it doesn't really, especially independent publishers, I have no interest in crapping on your game or, you know, somebody else's game, because it's not helpful. It's not productive. You know, it's one thing to take a published game from an established publisher and go, this game was terrible, you know, but it was we got the retail version. We, either one of us bought it on our own, or the game store owner, was like, hey, I got this game. Do you want to review it? And we're like, yeah, it's new. Let's look at it. That's completely different. But let's just say we walked in to our game store and there was a terrible game on the shelf. We pull it off the shelf and it's like, oh, we didn't like this. Well, it's like terrible games, they're not CMON, they're not, Stonemeyer, no offense. We'll just be like, well, we're not going to do a video on that one, like next,
Well, sure. And I think that a lot of content creators are going to do some level of screening. I mean, usually with a lot of the people I've worked with, and Mike is included in this, there's a phone call that happens before you get into the review conversation.
Right.
And you have some vague understanding about the audience, and there's all kinds of reasons to not want to render a bad review for a game. I'm not saying that, any arrangement should render a game immune from that, though. I mean, criticism comes with what you're doing. And the problem is that the games that are getting coverage unpaid are the ones from AAA titles, because those are the games that people are playing. Those are the games that people are excited about, right? So
those are the ones that get clicks. You're right. I mean, to be completely mercenary about it, you were right.
Okay, so then from an indie publisher's perspective, you know why I have absolutely no misgivings about giving a channel like Shelfside. Shelfside is a YouTube channel that I think has over 20,000 subscribers. They will ask you for $1,000 to review a game. And I have absolutely, if I had $1,000 to give them, I'd give it to them, because I want their audience.
Oh,
I'm an indie publisher. I don't have a $15,000 marketing budget. I have absolutely no qualms with giving a content creator $500, $1,000 to look at my game, because the only way that they're going to be made aware of it at all is if I send it to them. Otherwise, they're going to do coverage on Ankh or the next Stonemeyer game or the expansion for this thing that 3,000 people backed on Kickstarter. It's just it's a self-feeding cycle of people going like, these are the games that most of the people playing. Like, what was that cute dragon game?
Flamecraft. Yeah.
Flamecraft, dude. Flamecraft's probably a great game. I'm friends with the designer on Facebook. Super nice guy. I'm sure the game is great. I have seen that game everywhere. A bunch of unpaid coverage, a bunch of people talking about it, a bunch of people giving them content for free, right? And I have a game that I don't think is for everybody, but if it had the kind of signal spread that Flamecraft had, I bet that we would be doing a lot better. But we don't get the free content because we're not the big hot game that happened that everybody's talking about.
And it also had the Lucky Duck marketing engine behind it. And that's not a dig on it or anything, but I mean, Lucky Duck's a big enough, company to be able to pump it out.
I'll quickly add Lucky Duck, the owner CEO. I can't remember the dude's name, which I feel like a jerk, but super cool guy. I had a conversation with him. Yeah, I had a conversation with him on one of the board game forums, and he took an hour out of his day and did a consultation with me on my Kickstarter feed and gave me a bunch of notes. And
hell yeah,
totally took a meeting and helped out.
No, that's. I will.
Chris has made this comment before.
Yeah, he has.
This is very successful,
and he's not wrong.
Making it about cats or making it about dogs.
I will say that the majority of the company owners and designers that I have met have all, on a personal level, all been very excellent. Like usually they're just gamers, they're nerds, they're passionate, right? So that guy, right? He's just passionate, loves talking shop, was generous with its time. That's amazing. I love that story. Mike, I'm sorry I cut you off.
No, you're fine. I just want to throw in a couple things. So, the first time Tim let me come on the show was about 1.5 years ago. And the first indie games that I got to cover that I remember were Hike It and Black Mold. So and since then, Tim can attest to this, there's a feeling of we're part of like your journey, like with your game, when we get to
Yeah.
cover it, when we get to promote it, when we get to get more eyeballs on it. And even though we had like nothing to do with, the progress of making the game, just like seeing it like fund and exceed the funding goal is really rewarding for us. It
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 is.
honestly is. And we have like what we did in our Gen Con booth. I'm gonna throw it out there again. Like, yeah, we did have guys like David Turksey and Stan Kordonsky in our booth, but that doesn't account for the dozens of indie publishers that we had in our booth that we covered their games because we wanted more eyeballs on them. How many times have these guys in this chat heard us talk about Fairy Tale Campaign Trail, which is made by this young 3-person group out of Dayton, Ohio, that made this super fun, creative party game. It is really fun and rewarding to talk about the stuff that you guys are making because not enough people are looking at those projects, and it feels good to get more exposure for you guys for sure. It's
I
it's
mean,
fun to be part of the journey.
even if it's just a couple of backers or a couple of eyes, like if we've done anything positive ever, right, with this channel and helped anybody, it's like that's a win. That's a win. I go into see, and the other thing is, I literally go into every game wanting to like it. I really do because I just love playing
Yeah.
board games. Like,
Yeah.
There's some people that are just angry at the world, and they go in, Now I have gone into some games like Arms Cross, like everybody likes this game, and I'm an old Gen Xer, so I'm like, it must suck because everybody likes it, and then I usually come around because I'm like, oh, I didn't want to like this game, I actually loved it.
No, Tim just really likes to hate Euros that the rest of us are hyped about. That's what it is. Just
No,
lay
no,
it
no,
out
no.
there, Tim.
I just hate
True, but go
Euros.
on.
I just hate Euros that they're I just don't like games that are so tight that if you make one mistake or have one bad round, then you spend the last hour and a half of the game just watching everybody else have a lot of fun while you sit there and just try to find ways to take your turn that are still entertaining to you.
What game is the culprit of this accusation that you're making?
Darwin's Journey. It's got a lot of great mechanics. I was just miserable playing it. It's got great art. It's got great components. All of the mechanics that it does are really cool. I was really bad at it. The market was always never worked out for me. And everybody's like, oh, this variable market's really great. And I was like, except for when it was my turn. And it wasn't great. It was terrible every time.
Man.
So
I love it and have everything for it. So what can you do?
And here's the thing is like I could still recommend that game to people because I didn't like it, I sure as shit know a bunch of people that love that game. There's Foundations of Rome, a game I had a miserable experience with and do not like very much at all. I find it to be empty calories. Now I say this as a guy who owns everything for Cthulhu Wars. You want to talk about overproduced and all that stuff, right? I love my deluxe editions and stuff. But Foundations of Rome, and also I love Emerson Matsuuchi. He's made some games that I 1,000,000% adore. That one, I don't like it. Some of it was my experience with it, and the couple of times I played it. But I could definitely say like, oh man, you like this, you'll love Foundations of Rome. But I don't want to play it with you.
So here's the thing, and when we talk about content creators, we also talk about how they curate an audience because the people that are going to surround them are going to be gravitating towards the sensibilities that they share and the attitude and personality that they put on the screen, right? So that's the problem that I have with people saying that if you accept a free copy of a game, if you accept a cash payment for services rendered because somebody else wants to borrow your audience and get in front of your audience, and then you render an opinion that's honest because there isn't a world that exists where a content creator who spent 5 years building an audience of 30,000 people says bullshit and lies on their channel to their audience because somebody gave them $1,000. That's not a thing that will happen. That is like training your whole life to get to the Olympics and then tying your shoelaces together at the starting line. It's crazy. So like these perceptions that people have about the content creator space, the relationship they have with publishers, and how people aren't able to maintain integrity and honesty when they speak to their audience, regardless of these other external factors, is crazy to me, because content creators are hobbyists, which means they don't have an agenda other than to talk about games that they're excited about.
Right.
Right.
Well, but I can see the other side. I will play devil's advocate. I can see the other side where there will be people that'll go, well, that dude's just a hack. He likes everything, or he only likes it because they paid him, blah, blah, blah. I see the other side of it. I don't always agree with it. Believe me, I would love for Board Game Rundown to be my full-time job. To do that, I would have to be able to get paid to do it, right, John?
Yes.
That's the reality of the situation.
This is what I'm getting at, is publishers want a captive audience, and they want content creators who are honest, and we want to compensate you for your money. But there's all of this other stuff surrounding the arrangement that makes it difficult, and most of it is coming about misperceptions about the way that this whole arrangement works.
Well, and I think, though, agreed. And I think it's easier to do that when it's just one person. If it's one person channel, and I'm not Quack, because Quack has, he's got his wife, he had West on, Quack had guests. But if it's just one guy or girl, one person sitting there, it would be very easy. But like one of the things when we started reviewing it, when I was trying to come up with the concept of the show, is I kind of wanted to, because I love a good debate and a good argument, right? Even if I agree with the person I'm arguing with, but I just want to talk the other side. I wanted to have at least, 2 or 3 people, if not 4, all play a game, because even if we all love the game, we're going to probably love different things about it, and if we dislike a game, we might dislike different things about it. Or what happens a lot is one person is kind of like, thought the game was fine. And somebody else is like, this is the game. Like, this is my lifestyle game, and I just love the dynamic, because I feel like the people, the people that watch our show will gravitate to the hosts that they like, or the tastes that they like. Oh, well, I usually agree with Tim with this style of game, or Tim's way off base here, but I feel like it gives them a chance to also see all of our personalities, and then they're going to know. Right. And then if there's a style of game, let's just say a long Euro that's really punishing if you make a mistake, comes out and I really love it. It's like, guys, normally I hate this kind of game, but this one like blew me out of my shoes. Right. Like that should carry more weight. But I feel like having a panel, if you will, it gives us some versatility, and also sort of alleviates some of that. Oh, well, they like every game, because we do tend to review games positively, because usually when we're picking games, we only have so much time. So we're going to pick games that we want to play, so somebody was already inclined to be like, well, that looked really cool. I want to play it. You know what I mean? Or like when I'm looking at different like Facebook groups, or, there's different people that reach out, like, hey, would you want to review our game? And you start looking at it and you're like, oh, this looks cool. I think I'll like it. Or, oh, Mike really likes this kind of game. Like there's one on Kickstarter right now, Cargo Empire, just launched yesterday. And when I was reading the description for it, I was like, oh, I bet Mike would like that game. So, you know what I mean? It's like, boop, like, love to do a preview for you.
Well, we have a roster of guys to pick from, which was the good idea that Tim came up with, was to have multiple people with different opinions. So we can kind of like carefully select a group to go and cover a game that they're probably going to like.
Yeah, but it's also fun when we don't like something. I mean, when Mobile Markets came out, the smartphone sequel came out. I mean, I was hard on that game. I was really hard on that game. And I think I was so hard on that game that Bob, who had bought it, kind of tried to overcompensate and go the other way with like, well, it's not that bad. I want to know how many times Bob's played Mobile Market since we reviewed that thing, because that thing was terrible. So
I mean, that actually touches on something that I think is also like a bit of an issue with the whole ecosystem, is that like from the indie publishing side, or even from the AAA title side, you have no actual guarantees about the level of thoroughness that a content creator is going to take when they're about to review your game. I don't want to, I hope this doesn't come off like I'm whining, but
dude, no. This is your platform. We're having a conversation. Go for it, John.
Our first release, Token Terrors Battlegrounds, is a quick 20 to 40 minute head-to-head clasher that is a nearly perfect information skirmish game. Okay. because it's nearly perfect information and because you'll be rewarded with skill, sometimes people's first games just don't go very well. It's a game that needs 2 or 3 plays to really click so you can get in the right headspace and internalize some of the rules. And I say this to people when I talk to them in person, but I have no way of guaranteeing that anybody who reviews a copy of that game is going to play it more than once. And some might argue, hey, you know what? If it doesn't grab people after one play, it's not a good game. That's it. And to that, I say that's weird because I feel like every single board game that comes out, regardless of who the publisher is, it's its own self-contained piece of art that has different strengths, different weaknesses, different nuances, different complexities, and different things to offer. And not all of them are going to check that box of being a game that's going to knock your socks off after one play. I wish every board game was like that, but even ones that are made by trusted creators, well-known, great designers, right? Has every Reiner Knizia game, every time it goes to the table, when people play it, they just go, "Holy shit, my mind is blown!" Like,
right.
You know what I mean? Like, do you see what I'm saying? Like, there's different grades of ways that you can impart value and decide on what's valuable to you about that piece of media, and they're all going to be different. So, like, having these static sort of like, this is the box that this thing exists in, and that's it. I just feel like it's just a bummer that a lot of people are sort of constricted by some of these like guidelines that are self-imposed. Is that
no? I get what you're saying 100%. And I will say that for us, it's sort of a mix. Sometimes we get to play a game a bunch of times before we do something for it. And sometimes we don't. We usually try to talk about that. There's definitely been games that have turned me around, on multiple plays, but that hasn't really been the case with like the review games or preview games, which we would call like the Kickstarter, stuff, because we call those previews because they're not out yet, right? So I don't like to review a game that isn't published because you never know what's going to change. I literally have a game that I thought I was getting basically the finished copy, and I was working through the rules. I was literally getting ready to email the guy who sent it to me, one of the designers, about some of the rules, and he messaged me. He emailed me first and was like, "Hey, we've gotten a lot of questions. We're going to rework the rule book. Can you hold off on the video?" And I was like, "Oh, thank God," because I was going to have to ask some pretty hard questions. Like, I'm not sure that this makes sense. I mean, that's my responsibility. That's Mike's responsibility. That's our obligation, right? As content creators to the designers, is to at least go, "Hey man, like this isn't jiving. Am I doing this right? Am I, is this right? Is this wrong?" Because at least if it's right, if we're getting the rule right and we don't like it, we can at least say, there was this rule in here. We thought it was weird, but that's the rule. And we don't dig it.
Yeah, it's not, I mean, from my side of things, it's not like a publisher can turn around. If I send out 8 copies of a game and 3 of the videos misrepresent the game, use key phrases incorrectly, hold up a component and misname it, I don't get to hop onto my channel and go, "Here's my 5-minute review on this content creator."
Right. Yeah.
I'm gonna give them 2 out of 5 stars on covering my board game because they said a bunch of stuff that was incorrect.
And John, you're putting a bad spot anyways, man, because if somebody does that, right? Let's just say we took Valka out, and I called all the stuff the wrong thing, and I had like 5 of the rules wrong and everything, and I bitched about those rules, and I'm like, "Oh, they're terrible." If you go to social media, if you go to the platforms that you can utilize and go, "These guys suck, they're the worst," unfortunately you come off as the bad guy because you're like, "Oh, well, that's just a guy who's mad that they didn't like his stuff,"
Yep.
And that's not fair to you, unfortunately, but that is kind of the reality. It's sort of like, it's sort of like what happened to Quack, right? When they started publishing, when that company started putting out those emails, that correspondence, and stuff, and you using that to frame stuff in a way, that they did. We talked to a lawyer about it specifically, and then also maybe it was a happy coincidence, but also taking advantage of the fact that Jesse was out of country and was like, had no way to respond. And I will say this, Jesse took way too long to respond to I don't know that he understood the seriousness of what was happening to his channel.
He talks about it in the videos. He talks about it in the videos he just posted, where he talks about how
Okay.
it was completely inappropriate for him to prioritize anything involving the channel when he was in the middle of confirming his Jewish faith and marrying his wife.
I get that. I'm not overly religious. I'm not overly religious,
I'm not
but
either,
I get
dude.
that.
I'm really not.
But I understand it. You know,
Yeah.
I watched the first 2 videos that he put out because he started putting those out like a week ago, right? Or 2 weeks ago.
Yeah, he was overseas. I mean, the whole thing is ridiculous. That company was insanely reckless. And at the end of the day, what happened to Jesse? He lost 4,000 followers on his YouTube channel, had to let West go, had to let his editor go, had to scale back the channel, had to completely backpedal on his business plan and the projected future of his company for the next couple of years. And what did the creators of Aeon Trespass do? They made almost $3 million on Kickstarter. Oh, come on, guys.
Yeah.
Have a little bit more responsibility. They let accusations of blackmail just fly around the internet and just didn't handle it in a professional manner. It was like they messed up the dude's life, and there's nothing to be done about it.
It's pretty awful.
Millions.
Now we did one video about the subject, and him and I both made the decision to not share our opinions in that video. And we did that because we thought that every content creator that was sharing an opinion was adding absolutely nothing to the conversation.
But you know what they were doing?
Stirring the pot and getting clicks.
Yep, getting those clicks.
Yes,
getting those clicks
exactly.
Up.
And here's the thing. Our audience knows this, and you probably do because he covered the game with us. We know Wes Todd personally. Yeah. And he is an awesome dude.
Really love that guy. Love that guy.
And when one of his best friends is going through something like that, and we know West, there just wasn't an incentive for us to put out a video just to dogpile a subject that had been done to death. And we had conversations with West about that. Tim can attest to this. I felt guilty in my conscience. I actually did not. I fought the idea of doing a video about that subject because I knew it was negatively impacting somebody that I respect a lot. And so we eventually did put out a video, and we didn't share our opinions because Tim's brother-in-law happens to be a lawyer in the board game industry. And so we let him be our commentary. And it's an interesting video. It's our most watched live video ever for obvious reasons, but that's not why we did it. We did it because
it's not monetized, just so you know.
It's also not monetized, and
specifically because we didn't want to capitalize on colleagues' pain. Yeah, sorry, Mike.
We wanted to put out a fresh perspective, is what I wanted to say. We put out something that other people didn't think about or maybe didn't say about that subject that hadn't been said before, instead of just repeating the same shit that everybody else said.
And that was
anecdotal stuff and stories about, like, it was just like, what are we doing? Like, I don't understand the whole idea of like bashing other content creators trying to do the exact same thing that we're doing. We're all just trying to grow and help each other out. It's like, why are we just throwing stones? Like, that doesn't make any sense to me at all. So, I just wanted to throw that out there. We did content, but because we thought it was different than what everybody else had done, and I couldn't do it without Wes honestly obliging that we were doing it in a way that
ask if it was cool. Yeah,
was fair.
Yeah, it's just that whole situation sort of like primed this conversation as far as the subject matter of this talk here, because the thing is like there's 3 interested parties in this whole ecosystem, and that whole controversy, which was totally avoidable and totally uncool and not good, is a symptom of the way that this ecosystem is separated between the perceptions that the hobbyists have, who are completely removed from the industry, the struggles that content creators have because they're passionate about the hobby and they want to do coverage for all manner of board game creators and they want to get clicks and they want to have an audience, but they are expected to do that for no compensation and edge out that time outside of their 8-hour a day work schedule. and then board game content creators who are like, if they're like me, they're like, if you'll do coverage for free, great. I'll send you a copy of the game for free. If you want to be paid, if I can afford it, I'll pay you. Because for me, this is a marketing expense.
Yeah.
I don't want to pay for your opinion. I want your honest opinion because your honest opinion matters to your audience. And that's who I matter to. I matter to your audience. If you hate the game, fine. Like, you can take the easy road, which is to just not cover it. I would rather have people not cover it and be honest. And, you know, if we put out a game and people are like, hey man, we got it to the table, we played it, it's not ready yet. You know, they're like, it's got a bunch of glaring problems, it's not ready yet. I would take that feedback on the chin and say thank you, for real.
Right. But so that's the thing though, John, right? Like, if we get a game that we didn't like, now right now we're talking about our current model, which is we just get a game. We don't get any money for it. Yeah, I mean, 1,000,000%, we've got to be honest. And I might like, if I run into a friend at Origins and they're like, oh, hey, what'd you think of John's new game? I'd be like, oh, I didn't love it. And that might be all I'd say, but I wouldn't go on our Discord and be like, oh guys, whatever you do, don't go back, blah, 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 because it's terrible. Like, no, like that's stupid. You know,
well, it is a terrible game, but
fair. It was awful. Excuse me. Don't back it because it's awful. Back it because it's terrible.
Yeah.
But you know what I mean? Like, so like, I don't have a lot of interest in doing that because,
with bad vibes.
It's just not, it's not cool, okay, man. And again, it's one thing to have a private conversation with somebody. You know, if I ran into somebody on the street and they were like, oh, hey, Tim, so what did you think about this? You know, if we didn't talk about it on the show already, I might give them like if it was like a positive thing, I'd be like, well, we didn't love it. Like, I wouldn't be cruel about it or anything, but I would also, you know, like, again, we even though it's a small platform, you know, we have a responsibility with our platform, you know, because we can really, you know, we can hinder people's ability to get games published, you know, not in a big way. We're not huge, but we do have a responsibility. I feel like that if our whole mantra, because I know Quack was the same way, like he loved indie publishers, you know, the indie guys. Like,
I mean, look, call me biased, but like part of the reason that I like tried to stand up for the guy and defend him is because like he welcomed me into his home. He shot coverage. Yeah, he didn't ask me for any money. He was like, but do others in the internet share? Yeah, there are actually person who commented. I see that. Yeah, there are a bunch of people like Derek Funkhauser was somebody very memorably who was in the comments about that whole controversy saying, if y'all understood how the industry works, there is nothing abnormal about this arrangement.
Right.
Like the request, like the email receipts that happened in the lieu of this, that got exposed in the lieu of this controversy, basically express a very common thing. Like I mentioned earlier, Shelfside, which is a channel that I think has 20 or 30,000 followers. I asked them to cover one of our games. They said, cool, pony up a G and we'll do it. And I said, I'd love to, guys. I don't have it in the budget right now, but I will if I do. If that changes, I'll let you know. It's not a problem. It's really not. They have to spend hours learning it, hours shooting it, hours editing it, and they're leveraging the trust they have of their audience to show the game. And I just want the eyeballs. That's
I will say that if I had the cojones to be like, hey man, pony up a G, I owe it to you to play it more than once to review it. And I would owe it to you to make sure that I had the terms right. And, you know,
this is huge. This is huge. The accountability factor is a huge part of it because do you know how many free unpaid content creators I've sent out games to who have either done absolutely nothing or put up a video where they go on and go, yeah, I got it to the table. I played it with my wife. She doesn't really like these kinds of games, so it didn't really work out for me.
Sorry.
Like,
that's terrible. That's terrible.
And you know what? I didn't pay him. I didn't pay him. So I can't be like, hey, this is not cool. You got to fix this. I can't do that because they're not paid. There's no accountability.
But here's the other side of that though, is you cannot go to them again, you know, and I would rather go, hey man, we played it. It didn't land. What can I do with it? Sure. You know, can I get it to somebody else? Let me send it to somebody else, you know, or whatever. But like playing it with somebody that I don't think will already like the game, and then that being your whole reason, it's like, well, why'd you ask for it? Why'd you accept it?
I got a BGG review with a 5 out of 10 that said, played it once, pretty sure I would like it more if I played it more, but after one game, I'm rating this a 5 out of 10. And I'm like, why are you on BGG?
Why are you rating it?
Why are you rating it?
Why are you admitting that you're rating something?
You just lowered my overall public facing score by a decimal of a point. I went from a 7.8 to a 7.7 because of this. Why are you doing it?
Again, even those people, right? They have a responsibility and they don't think about the recklessness of garbage like that.
Hey, I appreciate that people in the hobby have shelves like the ones behind y'all where there's 150 games on 2 shelves stacked behind them, okay? And these are consumer goods. They're commodities, and they're there for people's enjoyment. And they're all judged on an equal scale. They don't care if the box weighs 4 pounds or if it can fit in your pocket. If it's good, it's good. If it's bad, it's bad, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
But what they don't understand is that somebody like myself and the team of people who have equity in Terrible Games, the board game publishing company, have 3, maybe 4 years of our life inside of that box. It's we're not the big studios that have a team of 30 or 15 or however many people working on this stuff. Like I understand, like we have to meet the standard of what is, what's engaging. Like we have to make a good product, right?
You do.
Oh, thank you. Appreciate that. But the thing is like, we don't get the same considerations. We don't get different considerations because of our size or how much we struggle to get the game to market. Like that doesn't matter.
Not at all.
Yeah, right. So yeah, it's a hazard. It's a hazard of the business, and it is what it is. But I wish that like the conversation surrounding the content creators, the opinions they render, and how hobbyists engage with that content was just changed a little bit to have a little bit more understanding and a little bit more mindfulness and grace when it comes to the different players. When it comes to this, thing, you know what I mean?
That's why it's not possible, but I wish that like everybody that plays board games could go to conventions, because it opened my eyes early on, way before I was a content creator. When I got into the hobby and I would go to Gen Con, and there's just like these booths for small games, and stuff. And you sit down and you're like, oh, that game was really cool. Somebody would be like, hey, do you want to learn this? I'm like, yeah, that was really cool. And like, oh, thanks. And I'm like, oh, you designed this? You know what I mean? And then you start to like put faces with these people. They poured their whole hearts, you know what I mean? And sometimes their bank accounts, into making this game, and they put a lot on the line for these games and stuff. And so like when I don't want to love every game. I don't have to love every game, whatever. But I'm excited when I watch these small publishers, especially if I know them, because it's like, how hard they worked. They're like anybody. If you know their story, you're more likely to root for them. And, it's like you watch these guys and you watch them, with the ups and downs and all this stuff. And it's like, I wish more people were able to see that, because, I just, we've become just by benefit of doing the show, just dumb luck. We've become friends with publishers and designers and stuff. And it's like, I mean, there's definitely been publishers we're friends with. We do not love every single one of their games, but like, but the ones we love, we're so excited about, because it's like, yes, like they got one, It's almost like, I think of it like baseball statistics, right? If you bat 500 in baseball, you're going to the Hall of Fame. So I mean, it's really tough, man. People get it, keyboard warriors, they don't care. They don't know John, they don't know John, they don't know Mike, they don't know me. They just get on and go, this guy sucks, or this game was dumb, blah, 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 for whatever arbitrary reason. My dog chewed up half of the components of this game and died. I hate this game. One star on BGG, right?
Oh man.
But I got to buy a new copy because I love it, because I got to play it again.
That kind of stuff. I mean, it was actually kind of helpful with Black Mold, because we have the breath holding mechanic. We had people coming out of the woodwork being like, y'all are going to get somebody killed.
Oh God, come on, calm down.
This game is dangerous. And what about people with asthma? What about, and I'm like, I understand. This is not, Like
We-
if this game isn't for you, I totally get it. Like,
But
we
that's the
don't-
thing is if I've got a breathing problem, and let's just say I wasn't aware that there was an option around that mechanic specifically.
which there is, yeah,
But-
there's the stand timer.
Stand timer.
Right, which
Yeah,
we're
we know
totally
stand
aware
timer.
of. But let me just
Stretching
say, like,
people.
if I have like this problem with breathing, it'd be like, oh, that game, I probably shouldn't play it. It's bad for me. It's like knowing you're allergic to peanuts and then going, ooh, peanut butter. It's like,
or being like my spouse who doesn't like head-to-head confrontation. I made
Okay.
a board game that is a head-to-head battle game, and she won't play it with me because she doesn't like skirmish games.
oh,
That-
so
to me-
wait, John, was it you that did that review?
No,
I played this with my wife. She didn't like it. 5 stars.
no. Hey, question, fellas. Is it cool if I take a pee break real quick? Those beers are catching up with me.
Go for
Oh
it,
yeah,
brother.
you're good.
Go
You're
for
All
it.
right, I'll be back in just a minute.
No, you're good, man.
I know John also said he probably won't be able to stay for the entire stream. I don't even know if I told Tim that.
No,
I
you did. You did. We talked about
has
it.
an hour and a half, 2 hours tops, which is of course totally cool. We'll take whatever time they got. When he comes back, I want to talk about some other something that kind of went full circle. Yeah, Jim just had a successful campaign.
Dude, Jim, I'm so happy for you, dude.
And seriously, it just again we talk about it because we mean it. Like when we get to cover games with you guys and like talk with you guys that make these cool games and then see them get funded. It's awesome just having even a tiny part of being a tiny part of that journey. It's great. So going full circle, really, we kind of realized this, especially this year, Tim, how fulfilling it was to help out indie publishers. Like for example, we had the Kinston Key Games guys in our Origins booth, and we just let them run demos for
Yeah,
hours because
they
everybody
probably
wanted to
did.
know what the hell that game was.
They probably didn't need our help, but it was fun to be a part of that though, and
was
build that
cool.
relationship with those guys. So
And like they're always going to remember that,
Yeah.
and like, okay, so let's talk about going full circle. One of the first indie games that I got to cover was Hike It, and then TJ brought Pigskin into the Gen Con booth.
Man,
And
I'm
Black
so mad I
Mold
didn't
was
get to
one of
play
the
that.
first indie games that I got to cover. And really, West used to cover those indie games when he was on Quackalope.
Mm-hmm.
And then he started designing a game with this Facebook user here called Claw. And then wearing the shirt, we have, as far as I know, the only coverage on it still. More to come. It's a lot of fun. It is a lot of fun being a part of that journey, guys. So
I love all of these friendships that I made. You know what I mean?
yes.
There's designers and publishers that are just like, they're just like us. They're just fans of the hobby, right? And we have other interests and other things in common. And I get to have these conversations with these guys. Like I've made all of these new friends. You know what I mean? Like if I ran into Jim Cole anywhere, man, we'd be able to hang out, have a great conversation, probably go out and have a beer. You know what I mean? Like that's the thing. It's the best. It's the best feeling.
Yeah, John. So Wes kind of like, used to cover a lot of the indie games on Quackalope. I don't know if you caught that in part of the conversation there. And now he's working on a game with Facebook user here who needs to click a link so you can see his name is Justin. And that game is Claw. And we've covered that game a couple of times. And
I'm wearing their shirt.
Wes
tonight.
is working on something pretty cool, man. And it's cool. It's been awesome just to be able to cover it with him and Justin and his brother, the guys that are making that one.
That's great.
Sorry, Jim. I mean a bourbon.
Yes. Jim.
I said that if I ran into Jim on the street, I'd have a beer with him. But he's
I'm
like, a beer? Like, okay, we'll have a whiskey.
I'll have some Natty Buzz.
John broke the seal, so he's had a few apparently.
Yeah.
No, you know what's really cool though is like, John, like you're saying some stuff that I've never heard and I really appreciate because for example, you're talking about you reach out to somebody and they go, hey, kick us $1,000, we do it, and that's like a legit thing. And you can well, no, I mean what you're saying makes 100% sense. we just have never been big enough to like operate on that level or have that problem. But it's just really interesting to hear your side of it because one of the things I love, and this was why it was cool to have you on for this topic, and was excited because it's I love shop talk. I love industry talk, especially with guys who are in it, have been in it, and you come at it from a different angle than I do. Because you've got all kinds of different knowledge and perspective and insight, and stuff. And so for me, it's just, like I just love like growing my knowledge of the hobby, the industry, and all of that stuff. So
Same.
I just think it's rad. You come on, like just like let's be real. Let's talk about it. Let's get it out there.
Yeah, absolutely, man. I mean, here's the thing. Like, I understand that, like, if I want to have one of my games featured on, like, No Pun Included or Shut Up and Sit Down or something, I've either got to make a game that just, like, breaks the industry and does something super crazy, innovative. And, I feel like we aim for that every time. But part of the journey of being a board game publisher is, I mean, time is a huge player. If you look at some of the biggest games in the industry, most of them from publishers have just been around for a long time.
Right.
And the other thing is every Kickstarter is kind of a lottery ticket.
It really is though, man. You just don't know.
You don't. You just need one or two things to go right. You need to get a little bit lucky and you can have the next big game. So, I mean, part of what we want to do is, obviously we're excited and we stand by everything that we make. I also acknowledge just as a creative person outside of board games in general, I make music, I do visual art. Not everything is for everybody. And I would argue that artwork isn't supposed to be for everyone. The more for everyone it is, the more homogenized and kind of, I don't know, not interesting, maybe. I'm not saying that mass market things are bad. No.
So John, I got a question for you then. Because I want to know your perspective of this.
Yeah.
Because I feel like this hits you specifically.
Sure.
We had somebody, one of the biggest hits we took critically was that we commented that, and it wasn't even a show I was on, but I totally backed this, is that we did not like the box art for a board game. And I specifically said the box art was the reason why I've never picked this game up.
Totally fine.
And we got crushed for, you're reviewing the game. You shouldn't even talk about the art. To me, while art is not always critical, it can 1,000,000% enhance my experience with a game.
What do you mean?
And decide whether you even grab the box off the shelf.
I didn't play Concordia for like 100 years because the box art was so ugly. That's one of my all-time favorite games. But the box art's terrible. But anyways, that's not the game I was referring to. But I'll just say it. Was it Circadian's Chaos Order or whatever it was? It was a Garfield games. I hate the box art. I do not like that art.
Just
never
box
played
art
it.
Just the art package in general, just the box art.
Well, I saw some of the art inside the game, and it's pretty consistent with the box art. Didn't love it, but I haven't played the game. I just said I would never play this game because I pulled it off the shelf, been like, ooh, I like this publisher. Right? Ooh, I like this designer. And then look at the box and like, I don't know. And I kind of move on and then go on to play other games. I mean, now I've had my friends that have played it, the people on the show that have played it are like, this game's amazing. It's great. I'm going to get around and play it eventually. It's already been reviewed. So sometimes that pushes it back like in the priority list because if it hasn't been reviewed, then it's like, oh yeah, we're going to play it. I'm going to make sure I'm in on that because I want to be able to talk about it. Then sometimes when it's already been played by other guys or we've already done a video for it, well, it's like, well, we got these 10 other games that we're supposed to play. So I guess I should be responsible and do the stuff we're, supposed to be working on. But that was a game and we got just wrecked in their Discord about like, oh, you guys are, like reviewers should never even comment on this. I understand the people wanting to go to bat for stuff that they're passionate about. But
they wouldn't say that if it was a bunch of stick figures. Like the idea that the art isn't important is such an absurd notion when it comes to this particular form of media that I don't even understand how anyone would say that. I mean,
I'm telling you.
Yeah, I mean, look, even a 52 card deck of cards has artwork.
I mean, they sell fancy versions of decks of cards for that reason alone. They
Yeah,
functionally do the same thing.
look, I mean, here's the thing: like, board games are at this really interesting crossroads in how they're created and how they're experienced, because like the play group matters.
Yeah.
Like the time of year to a certain extent can matter, right? Like one of the spooky games that made every single top 10 list, like Arkham Horror or whatever, fill in the blank, those are going to hit harder when it's spooky season.
We don't do our top 10 horror themed games in March.
There's all these external factors. Competency of rules. Somebody who had mentioned in the comments earlier, like, isn't the success of a game in the way that it's judged incumbent on how well the rules are done? 100% yes, but at the same time, you can have a really positive experience, even a better experience in a lot of cases, if you don't ever even look at the rule booklet and you have your buddy who's played the game twice sit down and teach it to you.
I don't have to look at a rule book. I'm great.
Yeah, but that's the thing, is like, if you have to sit there and get through the granular side of learning the game and setting the game up and learning the rule booklet, that could color your review and your experience of that game completely differently from you sitting down and having your buddy teach you and playing the game through on a single sit down.
Justin, you're right. I mean, that's what happened to Quack in a nutshell right there.
That's internet culture.
That is very true about even just who has to use the rule book can change the experience.
The person
that
doing
is very
teach.
true.
Yep.
Yeah.
The person doing the
absolutely.
teach can make it crazy. So it's like there's all these different factors that determine the quality and how people judge these pieces of art. And that's what board games are, but they're pieces of art that give you this thing that no other thing really does. Because you can say like video games and board games kind of do the same thing, but how much is like all of these other factors and the person-to-person energy and the table, everybody at the table together, that's a factor, right? So judging all these things, like it just seems to me that having like these hard and fast rules about the quality of a game, like saying things like art doesn't matter or mechanics come first or any of these things that are like rules, it seems silly to me to have like a cliff where you won't go beyond that when it comes to how you understand this medium.
I mean, here's the thing: is I have some games that are absolutely beautiful. They're like, they're okay, but they're fun to show off because they look really cool, But like, are they, like sustenance for my soul? Nah, not necessarily, but they look great. And I've got games that are ugly as sin, but I love to play them because they're so damn fulfilling. But sometimes you just get that where they're both of those levels, they just meet at the same spot, and you're like, yeah, that sweet spot, right? Where you can kind of get best of both worlds. Like Valka, for example. Valka is a game I would have picked up off the shelf at a game store and gone, okay. The artwork alone like draws me in. Now, I will tell you, I have had my ass handed to me by that solo mode like 10 times.
Really?
That solo mode is so hard for me. I don't know. I've almost messaged you like 6 times. Am I doing something wrong?
You can message me. It's possible. I understand that the loop can be a little confusing in combat because you have to understand exactly when you roll dice to test fate on the behalf of the marauders.
Right.
I've had some people hiccup on that. It took me a little while to actually internalize it, but once you understand that loop for combat, it flies, man. I beat it on my 3rd attempt, so I don't know.
Nice. No, but the thing is like there wasn't something in that game that I wasn't enjoying. I wouldn't have played it solo as many times, Sure. And again, I like trying the different factions. Now I played this head to head with Bob like a week ago.
Did you guys do the draft?
We did the draft. Yes.
Okay, cool.
But he had the faction, and now I feel like this is broken, and maybe I'm wrong. He had the faction though where he could steal 3 of my cards, and he had 3 of those guys out, and they were beefed up, and I couldn't take out one of his guys even. And so basically I had no hand, was drawing one. I would draw my cards, and what I couldn't play, he would steal. and then I couldn't take out any of his
In
dudes.
the two player mode.
Yes, sir.
You got by the weirdos, by the Brotherhood. That
Mhm.
makes sense because he's just taking cards right out of your hand.
Right. And I was playing with I had thrown in the expansion faction.
The gnomes.
They weren't the gnomes. I forget what their ability was. Bob's in here. Maybe Bob will remember what it was. My ability was good like the first turn. And then after that, it was like, oh no. It was like if I true strike, I got to do something. If I was able to damage via true strike or something happened.
You deal extra damage.
Maybe that was it. But Bob was able to beef his dudes up so quick, like not long after that we were like, okay, so maybe this faction is broken in 2-player. But here's the other side. As we but as we talk about it, as I talk about it and I think about it, here's the other thing though, is you still have to draft that and then draw that.
That's immediately what I was going to say. Is I was going to be like, well, this might be a symptom of you playing the game like early because you don't let your opponent draft 3 members of the Brotherhood in 2-player if you see this coming.
So
really
because
quickly,
there's that whole like get good rule, right? Like we'll play better, dummy. Anyways, John,
just
please
play
go on.
more. Just play more. Not
Right.
Yeah, get good, but play more. Really quickly, I just want to acknowledge something, Justin. Writing a rule book is the worst thing in the world, by the way. If you know, you know.
Uh-huh.
If you know, you know. It is bad. It is so hard.
Yeah.
And
there goes
also,
Bobby.
So
go ahead.
Oh, I was just gonna add. So obviously, John, you talked about like the whole package and all these factors that add into like your enjoyment of a game or even what makes you seek out a game. And in both cases, the art and the presentation of your games is what made me reach out. And so I just want to say, even though Tim hasn't taught me the game yet, he's going to this weekend.
Yeah.
I've just been out of town like multiple weekends, but you can tell your game's been in good hands because these guys have played it a few times.
Well, the other thing though is I'm really like Bob and I played it. I got absolutely spanked, and I'm like, God dang. But I told Bob like immediately when we were done, is like I can't wait to play this with like 4 players. Like really,
yeah.
Like watch people like to really see more of the dynamics sort of unfold. And again, like the solo mode wasn't that hard to learn, you know what I mean? And I was already kind of wanting to mess with the cards because I love the look of them. So, it's easy to sort of put on the table. And I'm not just trying to kiss your ass because you're here, but I do love the I love the artwork.
Tim.
Yeah, I love the art and stuff.
You know what?
I kept coming back to it. So I look forward to hopefully just doing to Mike what Bob did to me.
Well,
and
Tim, you
then
gave
being like,
me
I'll never need to play again.
You gave me the game on Sunday. It always gives me up. It's right over here. I'm gonna take it over to Bob's Friday, and maybe we'll try it. Maybe 3-player with Dan on Friday.
Oh, you should do that.
Yeah,
and then we'll play 4-player because it doesn't take that long.
No, it's supposed to be a beer and pretzels game. Like really hang out with a bowl of snacks and a couple beers, yell at each other, do messed up shit to each other, battle. The one thing I'll
listen to some stoner metal.
Listen, you know what? I will, if y'all are gonna play it this weekend, I'll send you a secret link to the full soundtrack on Bandcamp.
Yes.
Yes, because we do have a soundtrack for the game because we go hard like that.
I was going to add real quick, since you mentioned it, that one of the things I loved about Black Mold was you sent a freaking expansion that was inside of a cassette tape. It looked like a cassette tape container, and it had the link to the freaking soundtrack for that game. And it was this gritty, industrial, atmospheric music. And every single time I played that game, my man, I played that soundtrack, and it really amplified the experience. It really did.
So for anybody watching,
you got a soundtrack for Volca, please send.
What we did was we made a player interface in the J card insert for the cassette for a solo roll and write.
Nice.
Because the rules for Black Mold, you can actually play by yourself. It's just like kind of weird. You can do one floor alone, and it works. But we just didn't think that that was really a rewarding solo experience. So we worked with this really awesome game designer named Nathan Muner, who did this game that you might have heard of called Doom Machine. Really, really cool little dice placement game that is just sick. And yeah, I jokingly asked Brooke, the creator and designer of Volca, if they would do a soundtrack for the game, because they had written the theme song for the video spot, and like Brooke made it completely on his own. And I was like, well, if you can make that song, you can probably do anything. And I was like pretty much joking, and dude was like, yeah, no problem. And now we got this bad boy right here.
Oh hell yeah!
Yes.
So there's a Volca soundtrack.
Love it.
It's 9 songs. Oh yeah, we got a translucent red.
Oh my
tape.
god!
Nice.
I remember being so excited in the 90s, opening up a tape and finding out that it was like a clear colored plastic and being like, this is the coolest thing ever.
Yeah, making tapes is super fun. I really relish moments on like Sunday morning. I'll have like a big cup of coffee, and I'll smoke a bowl and pack the tape into my little cassette player right here on my desk and break out Volca and play the solo mode and listen to the music and try out a new faction.
Mhm.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah,
man.
Bob. John even said in our little pre-show meeting here that
Thank
he
you, Bob.
appreciated
Yes,
your
I saw that. Thank
your
you
Black
very much.
Mold shout out, and I don't think he remembered that it was a Kickstarter preview at the time, but I'm sure he appreciates that.
I need you guys to teach me this damn game because I look at this box every time we're in the studio and I love the
I
art.
left it in the studio so that it gets displayed while we're doing.
It's in the
reviews and
background of a
stuff.
lot of our videos. I love the
I love
artwork.
the art. It's awesome.
I love
Yeah.
the art. Like that was again, you know, I guess I'm an asshole because it's like if I were walking through a game store and I pull that box off and I look at it, well, I'm going to keep looking at it because I think that art's cool. You know what I mean? I'm going to flip it over. I'm going to look at the back. And I'm going to see more of the same kind of artwork that I think is really cool. Unlike that other game where I flipped it over and it's more of that same artwork. And I'm like, ugh, this is ugly.
Well, I mean,
I haven't played this yet. I mean, but it's like a similar sort of contrasty, you know, sort of style.
yeah.
But like,
yeah, no,
I wanted this
pretty cool.
game because of the artwork. And our buddy
Yeah.
Sam Stockton likes it. But yeah.
Well, it's like if you curate a record collection, if you curate a collection of anything, it's emblematic of the kind of person you are and your personal
Mhm.
tastes.
Mhm.
And for me, I have to love the way the game looks for me to want to own it.
Shame on you. Art shouldn't matter.
Yeah, well, I mean, it matters more than anything to me almost. If a game doesn't, I mean, look, I own like a 4th edition pressing of Castles of Burgundy because people said it was a great 2-player game that scales to 4. I like the game. It's good. I have the deluxe edition, which is infinitely more beautiful and way more like bespoke and crazy. It's an excellent game. I like Castles of Burgundy. The artwork didn't impact how much I liked Castles of Burgundy because it's a solid game. However, if given a choice between the deluxe copy I have with the acrylic tiles and the one with a bunch of cardboard shit that is purple, mauve, like weird slime green, like the color palette is incomprehensible. I don't understand why they chose these colors. I obviously am taking the deluxe edition with beautifully rendered artwork. Like, come on.
We could do a top 5 games I've never played because I think the box art is ugly, and Castles of Burgundy is on that list. I've never played it, but I've seen that game many times, and people are like, "Oh, I love it," and I'll pick it up at a game store. I'm like, "Ugh."
You're
Like,
talking about
like
one of my
homework.
You're talking about one of my favorite games. When I first got into the hobby, I was watching a lot of Rado videos, and he was just talking up everything Steffenfeld made. So I just bought all 3 of his games at the time, which like he put out 3 like home runs for me: Castles of Burgundy, Trajan, and Bora Bora, all within a 2-year period. And I still to this day love all of those games. But the art never did any favors for Castles of Burgundy. Or Trajan. That one's almost like devoid of color.
But at least Trajan has a cool box art. Trajan has cool box art. I like the box art for Trajan.
Wayne Kruger in the comments, if it's your number 1 game of all time, I highly recommend you get the deluxe edition onto the collector's edition onto the table, because it is night and day. It is wild how crazy they went with this collector's edition version of Castles of Burgundy. And like, man, yeah, just a slam dunk of a release in my opinion. I happily spent that $135 when I opened
Hey.
that box up and got it on the table. I was like, this was the right choice.
Yes.
This is
I
Hell
absolutely
yeah,
correct.
man.
Yes, I got that deluxe edition, and I'm just absolutely thrilled with it. I decided to just show Bob this base game because I hadn't had a chance to touch it. It arrived like right when I went on a 2-week vacation. I had been waiting on it for literally months. Everybody had it. I was going on this vacation, and I'm like, "Hey neighbor, can you look for this like big white Awakened Realms box that's going to show up like any day?" And the day I left is when that damn thing showed up, and
Mhm.
so I just showed Bob the base game. Then we played it on BGA with the original art. So he was like, "What the hell am I playing? Is this even the same game?" So I haven't
Yeah.
even touched the modules yet, but it's still one of my favorite games of all time. And you're right, the new version is just trumps any other version.
Somebody mentioned still number one game of all time, but ugly art. Sorry, it was somebody else who was saying that like basically the mechanics of Burgundy transcend its shitty artwork, right?
Yeah,
And I don't think that really like takes away or detracts or anything from the conversation about artwork being important versus mechanics. Obviously, if mechanics are good in the board game space, like you can have an excellent time. Look at something like Fast Food Magnate, which is getting a deluxe edition this month.
Oh, right,
yeah.
right.
And people talk about it's the greatest Euro game ever made, but the artwork is whatever. Still
Subpar,
does,
right?
yeah, still does really good, but
Yeah.
now that's getting a deluxe edition as well. Yeah, obviously it just helps, but for me personally, and every board game, everybody has their own personal relationship with them. I just like games that I like to look at. I'll always play a game, you know, even if it
Mhm.
doesn't look great to me, I'll play it. And if I like it, I like it. That's cool. You know, the design can carry bad artwork, absolutely. And I think to a certain extent, I don't know if that door swings both ways. I don't know if really good artwork can compensate for a shitty design. I don't know.
It
Did
can't.
anybody got a case for that?
Man, I'll try to think of one, but just right off the top of my head, it can't. I'm assuming Tim's phone device either died or he hit the wrong button. Anyway, I'm sure he'll be back in a minute here. But I agree with something he said that Concordia is one of my favorite games of all time, and it's because of the mechanics. And for years, I just thought the game was so ugly I didn't even want to try it. And then halfway through the first game, you talk about those experiences where you play a game and halfway through it, you're like, wow, this is one of the greatest things I've ever played. That was Concordia for me. And it looks terrible, especially the box art. And we talk about it all the time. But it's just so good
Whoa.
that it doesn't matter.
Sorry, it didn't actually like strike me. I'm looking at it right now,
Ooh, yeah.
and
It's
yeah, that
it's bad. And
that
here's
cover
the
art is
weird thing about
really
this one.
something.
Yeah, dude, here's the weird thing about this one. This is second edition art, okay? Which is really just a modified version of first edition art, which does
Yeah.
nothing for the theme anyway. Like, sure, it's just generic trading in the Mediterranean, okay? But it's just very elegant and very good. But the
You know,
fact that they took the same exact version of the box and then just made a different version of it, it's like, okay, this version's better. It still does nothing for the game. Like, why not go a completely different direction if you're going to recommission the art? Like, so weird to me.
Listen,
It's fantastic though. It's an all-time favorite.
there's
but
games that
you don't know how much you're going to be scrutinized and how much you're going to be put under the microscope as a game publisher or designer. With every game that you release, because Concordia only gets put under the very stringent critical microscope because of how widely spread it is and because of how good the
Right.
game is, right?
Right.
Like when they release the game, when they do a redress on the artwork for that second edition, they're like, yeah, whatever, like it's cool.
Yeah.
We'll just
Yeah.
put this on there. Like nobody's gonna care. Like they already like the game, so like who gives a shit? Like
Right.
It was already, you're right. It was already a beloved game when they decided to update the art. So it didn't matter that much. But like nothing
but
here
Castles of
screams,
Burgundy,
this
Castles of
is one
Burgundy
of the
updated
greatest
their
games
art.
ever. Well, it also switched publishers though. So
Well, okay, fair.
you know, Concordia has been Rio Grande from start to finish.
Fair.
Castles of Burgundy was Ravensburger, who for the longest time was known for extremely dry Euros. A decade ago when that game came out, and again, I rate this a 10 because it's phenomenal. That switched to Awaken Realms, and we know what they do with games. So they took a feld and they went, the nth degree and said, let's make a miniature for every tile. I think it was Kruger in here who said he got everything but the miniatures. So did I, because that just seemed extreme. Like, why do I need a miniature for every single building when I'm used to this old shitty looking version? And you're going to give me acrylic tiles? That works. I'm good. Give me that and the mat. Give me that.
The acrylic tiles aren't great actually because they don't give you the ingredients list like the cardboard ones do.
Yeah, that's true. I will say though, I've played the original version of Concordia online so much that I know like every single icon available, and so there's a lot of them, and there's a lot of variation, especially in those those black and yellow tiles. There's dozens of them that you have to remember. But I played it so much, I've actually remembered all of them. It's crazy. So updated art, I just keep the cheat sheet out. There is a player aid that at least shows all of them. And there is that Etsy upgrade where you can put a sticker on the back of the acrylic tiles. But I'm like, do I really want to flip my tile over every time I want to know what it does? No, I'll just keep the player aid next to me.
Quickly, I wanted to address a question in the comments from Justin, who asked if I was the sole designer of our games. No, I'm not. I'm a co-designer on pretty much everything. I'm a co-designer on Token Terrors, but I was sort of the driving force on getting it from point A to point Z, where we finally took it to crowdfunding. I'm the creator and co-designer of Black Mold because the idea for the breath holding mechanic and the title and theme of the game was my idea, but the core mechanisms were from my co-designing partner, Phil Docolo, who is also the main co-designer on Token Terrors. The only game that I have designed with help, but I can claim a sole designer credit on, is the Goblin solo game, Goblin Nitro Run, that we did for the Token Terrors Battle Block solo games that we did.
Okay.
But I just wanted to give credit where it was due. I also have a really awesome team of people who help out. Lucas Geraci, my best friend and partner in Terrible Games, also does a ton of playtesting and soundboarding and co-designing. He actually, really quick, I'm gonna plug something weird. Hold on a second.
Go for it. Yeah, I'm here. Let's do it.
So Lucas made this game. The idea came to him while we were sitting around waiting for them to announce brackets for a Magic the Gathering tournament. This right here is Pocket Wars. So Pocket Wars is 4 wooden laser etched dice, a green drawstring bag, and the rules pamphlet is actually this card topper bag sealing thing. So it's double-sided, has rules either side. This game is like a quirky pub game that's a thought experiment and a crash course in game design, because what you do is you take random items that fit inside your pocket, and they are dubbed curios, and you adjudicate and decide and collaborate with the rest of the people at the table what the special intrinsic ability of that item is, which will activate whenever you roll a brainstorm outcome on your die. Everybody tracks 5 health on their non-rolling hand, and the other outcomes you can get are strike, defend, or miss. And whenever you roll a brainstorm, your curio special ability activates and it'll affect the rest of the game. So you have this conversation where you collaborate and work together to balance each of your asymmetric powers, and you track life on your hand, and you have simultaneous turns where you just roll 1 dice and point at your target, and your curio damages their curio based on how things resolve. So that's like Lucas and Phil are like the 2 main. Thank you for that. The 2 other people in Terrible Games that really help with like designing stuff. But then like my spouse Elizabeth, who is also a partner in the company, she play tested Black Mold to death with us during lockdown. We were playing it every weekend. We have a lot of creative people who are helping us with stuff. So I'm definitely not doing it by myself.
Nice. No, that's awesome, man. I mean, even I would say like guys that are solo designers, I mean, they still got a playtest group, right? I mean, there's still people that add stuff.
No, so solo game designers have one of the best things they could ask for, which is a playtesting group every time they need it, all the time.
That's true. That's true. Well, and they're not going to get that review that's like, well, I played it with my wife. She doesn't like this kind of game, so 5.
Yeah.
But I might like it if I played it with people that would like it.
Yeah.
Like, what the hell, man? What the hell? That's hilarious. I still can't get over that. That is bananas to me. I'm way too lazy to rate most of the games I play on BGG, but I've been trying to be better about it. I did it early on when I first got into the hobby, discovered BGG and was like, whoa, cool. And then never went back and adjusted my ratings once I played more than like 5 games. And I still get hell from the guys. So I've tried to go back and adjust my ratings accordingly. But when you've only played 5 games, maybe one of them might be a 10 because you're like, yeah, this is my favorite game. Now it's not in my top 100. I still like it, but I never went back and changed it. And so then everybody's like, oh, look at Tim. He rated this game a 10. He's an idiot. Well, you're an idiot because I'm lazy. But no, man, that all the effort that it takes to not only rate it a 5, but then to go into the explanation of why. I also would rarely explain why I rated a game, what I rated it. I mean, unless it's for the channel. But like on BGG, like I just don't have that drive to put all that crap out into print.
I mean, it depends. Like, here's an example. Okay, like, did you guys play Townsfolk Tussle?
No. I thought it looked cool.
Yeah,
never played it.
It's a boss battler. It was from a first-time publisher. I thought the arts. It was the first time we saw the Cuphead aesthetic.
Yeah, very cool art.
Yeah, that rubber hose art.
Miniatures, very gigantic box, right? And I was like, okay, I don't own a boss battler. The hose arm animation style is cool. Everybody was talking about how cool it was. Panic Roll, awesome studio, really nice people. I talked to them online a couple times. I played it 3 times.
Not great.
Click. Nah, it didn't click. It didn't click for me. The duration's crazy to me. I don't think that it's a product of inexperience because I feel like I can handle some intense mechanisms, considering that, like, I don't know. Endless Winter didn't exactly like break my brain in half. I'm a Magic the Gathering player, which has an insane amount of interaction and synergy stuff happening. So it wasn't because the game was complex. I got it to the table 3 times. And I don't think I've completed a game. And the last time I played it, I played with 2 other dudes who are like seasoned board game hobbyists. And like, we were at it for almost 3 hours and we couldn't get by to the final boss. So, juice worth the squeeze. I don't know. But when it's something like that, like now that I've clocked 3 plays and like it was like a $210 game. I mean, I have every reason in the world to love this game. Okay,
for sure.
And I know I could sell it in the aftermarket because it's a first edition pressing of Townsfolk Tussle. It's got all the bells and whistles, and I really wanted to love it. And it's one of those. That's the kind of situation where I go to BGG. That kind of experience is the one where I'm like, I'm going to rate this now because I got 2 bills on this bad boy and I'm 3 games in with people who understand the boss battler genre and we're trying to co-op and we're really trying to enjoy it. And just didn't do it for me. And you know what? That's okay. I know there are people out there who love it, and that's totally makes sense to me. There's just sometimes a game just doesn't land. It doesn't matter how hard you try, it just doesn't land. Great Wall
was that game for me. I dropped a lot of money all in. Loved every other Awakened Realms title that I played or kickstarted up until then. And man, oh man, that game was a grind. The couple of times I played it, I really was like, okay, maybe I'm missing something. Let's try again. It does so many things I like. It's beautiful. Game is absolutely beautiful. It's got a great
do you remember how
presence.
long that first game took?
How could I forget?
But so it's funny, like you mentioned that, and like we're talking about the review space and like personal experience and all the different factors that can affect your impression of a board game. And I see so many top 5 lists that have Twilight Imperium at the number 1 spot. This game that takes 6, 8, 10 hours to play.
Here's the thing. I do really enjoy Twilight Imperium. But I have played a 6-player game of Twilight Imperium in 3 hours where everybody knew what they were doing. We all knew how to play, and we were all taking our turns. Bang, 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 bang. I've also played like a 7-hour game of Twilight Imperium. For me, a game like that is as much the people I'm playing with it. Like, I will not play Twilight Imperium with strangers.
Yeah.
because I don't know if I want to be stuck at a table for 7 hours with those people. You know what I mean? If it's done in 3, great. But if I'm, realistically, it's going to take a lot longer. So I really want to know everybody I'm playing that game with, because if I'm having a good time and we're all bullshitting, in between turns, because there's downtime, totally different story. But I'd rather just play, 10 other games in the time that it could take to play Twilight Imperium sometimes, depending on the group.
Well, not only is it, group dependent and who you play with, when a game takes that long to set up, teach, and play, for me, there's a really big part of my thinking is all of this worth the time I've sunk into it?
Right. Right.
If I can play a game in 30 minutes to an hour, I can be a lot more forgiving. But if I have to take 3, 4, 5, 6 hours to play a game, I am not nearly as forgiving about how good that game is, because it needs to be worth the time sink into that game.
Yeah, but what about the self-imposed suffering and the rite of passage that comes along with a game that costs $110, takes 30 minutes to set up, takes 2 months to schedule, and when you get it and you beat it and you're finished, you're like, yeah, I go hard like that. That's how I am in this hobby. This shit matters to me. It matters so much. I mean, that investment and that whole entire like series of events that I think we've all experienced is also a part of this hobby, right? It's that risk reward that, like, you're trying to feed that gambling goblin in your brain. You're like, okay, I'm gonna send this 20-minute playthrough video to my 3 buddies. In 2 weeks, we're gonna sit down, we're gonna play Frostpunk. It's gonna take us 4 hours. And by the end of it, I'm going to learn whether or not I love this game and if I'm good at it or not. Like, that whole thing is like, it's part of it.
But that's the difference though, right? Is like doing that, like Great Wall, for example. We played a 5-hour game of Great Wall, our first game, but I played it with my friends. And now it is almost like it's a war story. You know what I mean? Like, it's like we came out of this grueling battle. They were all like miserable, except for the 2 guys who had broken characters. They were having a great time. But it was a grueling battle for everybody else. And then we played it again the next day because, God damn it, we were going to review it. And I was like, I must have gotten something. I must have missed something. I'm going to play with a different group of guys. And it still took like 3 hours, because it was easier. We had 2 of us had played before, so we understood the rules. Maybe even 3 of us had already played it. So, you know what I mean? Like, the rules, the teach went a lot faster, and it was fresh in our minds, and it was still a grind. And it's like, but there are plenty of games that, like, again, yeah, I've got a buddy that schedules like 2 Twilight Imperium games a year. Everybody that goes knows how to play, or they take on the responsibility of watching a teach video. Now, there's nothing wrong with getting a little refresher real quick right before we start. There's nothing wrong with that, because a lot of times when I go back to play Twilight Imperium, I haven't played it in a year. So it's like, yeah, man, I know that I need to do this. How does that work again? Okay, great. Let's go. Right? 5-10 minutes, hit the ground running. Let's go. There is something to be said for appointment viewing, right? And yeah, man, I've got TI3. I've got my 3rd edition coffin box. I will hold on to that son of a gun for forever, because I bought it at a game store. I was so excited, come out all proud with this big ass game. I was 2 years into the hobby, maybe at that point in time. It was most money I spent on a board game is that I walk right out the door with. And it was cool. It was good. It paid off. But man, sometimes though, dude, sometimes you get stuck in a game with somebody that's just a fun sucker. Let's just call him a fun sucker. You get somebody in there sucks all the fun out of an experience. And not only are you trapped there at the table with them, but you're trapped there at the table with them for 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 hours. Like, oh, just kill me.
Yeah, I mean, this is why Dungeons and Dragons groups have to be like carefully curated, because you're going to be spending 3-4 hours with people, every 2 weeks or every month or whatever your schedule is.
Oh,
But the whole thing speaks to like there. I think that there is a certain magic when you have like a short list of people that you invite over for game night on a regular basis, and when you get this one Voltron of folks that are just like super fun, have some they have some prior knowledge, they're ingrained in the hobby to a certain extent where they can internalize things quickly, they understand stuff, there's a little bit of etiquette understanding that happens, and like all of that can like color a gaming experience in a completely different light. I think that people often discount how important the play group is to really absorbing the quality of a game and how much it can bring to the table and how much it can enrich your experience.
And I'm also man enough to go, hey man, I'm not going to be the right cog in this wheel. Like I'm going to sit this one out because you guys are going to have a great time and I'm not. So like, I would rather y'all just get to have a great time. Sit over there, have fun. Like, don't worry about me. I'll be good. Like, I'll catch you on the next one. But at the same time, if I haven't played it, I'm usually game. Like, let me try it. I'll try anything. But if I have played it, and I know it's not like my cup of tea, I don't want to ruin somebody else's experience because I'd much rather all those guys sit over there and have a fantastic time playing whatever game, for however long. Like Wonderland's War game, I think it's kind of cool, but it takes way too long. I don't really want to play it very often.
Mike is shaking his head. Mike is shaking his head. No.
It's one of Mike's all-time favorite games. That's why
I love that game. Yeah, my werewolf sign is hiding the box over here.
For me, it takes way too long for what it is. I did not. I thought it was fine. I didn't love it. But there's several guys in our group that absolutely love that game. They're gaga for it. It's like, hey, awesome. Go ahead and play Wonderland's War. I've declined to play it multiple times since then because it's like I'll play like 3 other games while you guys play Wonderland's War, and I'll have just as much fun. You guys are having a great time, and I'm gonna have a great time. I'm just gonna be at this table over here, having a great time.
Yeah. Tim is wrong, but Barry says it depends. It depends how long the game feels like it plays.
Mhm.
And I'm just invested in every second of Wonderland's War. So I warn people that it's long, especially at higher player counts, but I just love every second of playing that game. And to something you said, John, a lot of people will say, well, that game's group dependent. What game is it? Like
every game is group dependent.
There's so many games that are group dependent, especially if they're longer.
Mm-hmm.
Sure. Yeah, absolutely. And like literacy, as far as how of how the hobby works, and people just understanding like basic mechanic key phrases. If you're like, all right, well, we're going to sit down. This is a worker placement with some light deck building and a little bit of zone control. You can. If people understand some of that stuff, and already you're hitting the ground running right away.
Right. But I do like, I enjoy a lot of mid-weight, lighter weight, gateway games because I can get people to the table. Mm-hmm. Now, that doesn't mean I only like those kind of games, but like for me, if Mike wants to go over and play Wonderland's War with a couple of people that are really excited about it, but I can get some lighter weight gamers having a good time, then maybe next time, and we play a couple, hour-long games while they play Wonderland's War for 3 hours. Well, next time though, because I also, and Mike's good at this too, right? Like I like the guys that I hang out with because I feel like we all do this, is we try to also like bring more people into the hobby, right? So it's like, oh, you like this. So we kind of like sneakily, oh, you played a game at this level, so the next one we play is going to be at this level. And then maybe we start to sneak it a little bit higher. And, and next thing you know, they're playing just as heavy games, and they don't even realize it because they're just having a good time. But if you just plop down, like a Feld right in front of them for their first game, they might be like, what, but if you can kind of ease them into it, get them in there.
Well, yeah, I think that's part of the rite of passage thing that I was mentioning earlier because it was like over a month ago or something, but it was like a Saturday and I didn't really have anything to do. I was feeling a little creatively blocked up, so I had backed the Cryptozoic Deluxe Edition of the Dark Knight Returns solo game that they released.
Oh man, that looked rad. I didn't play it.
Really, I love Batman. Batman's like my favorite comic book character, and they did a Dark Knight Returns solo game that cost $110 just as an experiment to see what the hell this would even be.
I almost backed it. Backed it.
Look, from an industry standpoint, like as a board game publisher, I was like, the balls on these dudes.
Yeah, but I mean,
like $110, please. You like Batman? We're gonna have a solo game.
But not just Batman, but freaking Dark Knight Returns. I mean, it's Frank Miller. It's iconic. I mean, there's
with no art budget because they took all the art from the comic.
But still, dude. Still, if I bought a game that said Batman: The Dark Knight Returns and it wasn't full of Frank Miller art, I'd be pissed.
Yeah, but
because that's what I'm buying.
I would be pissed too, and it has Frank Miller's artwork. But it'd be better than Frank Miller's artwork that he did back in whatever 19.
Oh, new. Yeah. Instead of like 1980, 88 or whatever year he did it.
I'd love to see some original Frank Miller commission for the game
sure.
instead of just stuff from the Dark Knight Returns comic book.
Sure.
I that's actually one of the biggest gripes I have with a lot of the DC Universe releases, and to a lesser extent Marvel, is that none of the publishers that do the stuff that have that IP ownership say, let's commission new artwork for this awesome board game we have. Nope, we're just going to grab everything from the comic book pages, which is fine. That's what people understand. That's what they've seen before. It makes sense. I would just like to see more artwork. But anyway, look. So I got this solo game to the table. It took me like 25 minutes to set up, and I was having this reoccurring thought. I was like, this is where I am. This is a bellwether in my place in my journey as a board game hobbyist, where I'm playing this board game that is so large for one player that it takes up an 8-person square size table. It takes up the whole. I needed the whole. We had to buy a larger table for our dining room in order for me to play this game. When I bought it, I put it on the table in my office and got out the board and like another like third of the game components and was like, I can't even play this. I can't. I don't have enough room. So we finally owned a table large enough for me to play it, and I have everything set up, and I spent 25 minutes dropping every single chit thing and reading all the stuff and setting up the cards and all the stuff. And I was like, man, this is such a weird sensation where like I'm imposing all of these like administrative demands on myself. And like I spent $110 to spend 25 minutes of my weekend like putting all this paper on the table, and I'm really excited about this. This is really cool. And then I had to I had to mentally unpack the game and experience it and make mistakes. And I got through the first mission, but I did it wrong. So now I'm mentally like quietly waiting for I'm mentally preparing myself for the next weekend where I can get Dark Knight Returns back to the table in solo mode and see if I can get through the first mission and play it correctly this time. But it's just funny to me that like all this complexity, all this added stuff, all these components and fluff and all these things, it's like it's a part of a lot of board game hobbyists' journey where they take on more, and it's sort of this rite of passage where they're like, it's not punishment, it's fun, but
that's the weird thing about it though, right? Is like, I mean, whether it's reading the rule book, and like digging into the rules and like getting, there's tons of games that I have that I'm excited to set up. Like even that part is like, it just kind of almost gets me ramped up for the game. It's the pregame show, right? It gets me ramped up for the game.
Because it feels more meaningful because of how much you need to expend to get there. Like it's asking something of you, like you have to buy in. I like that. I can see it now, and I see from people looking on the outside, especially people who are like, well, my friends tried to get me to come to a board game night, and they pulled out some game called Settlers of Catan, and it was way too complicated for me. I don't really like board games. Like that perspective also exists, but it's what you were talking about earlier, where you have to slowly graduate them into this point where they understand that, like, yes, I'm going to accept this burden in order to get enjoyment later.
Well, and here's the thing is like, I like Catan. I like Catan. I actually have a 3D version of Catan. I think it's fun. I'm not throwing shade on Catan at all. No. But I know that there's people like, I don't think Mike likes Catan at all, right? Mike, you don't like Catan? Somebody doesn't
really
like Catan.
Enjoy Catan.
Oh, it's Bob then. Bob doesn't like Catan, but he likes Starfarers. But anyways, but like what I will do to sort of take out the intimidation factor for some of those new folks is I'll just have it set up already. Because if they see the setup, they might just shut down. and be like, oh my God, you got to do what? Because it's not like Monopoly where you unfold the board, you pull out the tray with all the money, there's your bank, and then you just hand people their player pieces and some dice and you say, let's go. Right? Because a lot of people that aren't in the hobby, that's their conception of a board game. And that's fine. Because if anything, that just tells you Monopoly's got a great insert. You know, like, oh, you could just set up and turn it out really well. They nailed that.
Yeah.
But let me just, we were talking about the art for Dark Knight, and I got to ask you this because you are an artist. How would you ever have somebody else do the art for one of your games, or would you only do the art for your own game? Your game, a game you designed, one of your designs. Now,
yes.
Okay.
Yeah, absolutely. No, so there's an artist. Are y'all familiar with Lay Waste, the studio?
No, I don't think so. Not off the top of my head.
They did a game called Dragoon. They did a game called Life Siphon.
Yeah. I know Dragoon. I
I
almost backed that game because I thought it looked cool. I like the design of it. Anyways.
Yeah, so that so Lay Waste Studios is very similar to Terrible Games in that it's like 5 friends who all have different areas of expertise. And the lead artist for their company is this guy named Nick Nazaro, who is this incredibly talented visual artist. And I love his stuff. He has this very clean, textured sort of style. It's very stylized. It's very easy to clock. You can see it immediately. It's a Nick Nazaro. And me and my daughter co-designed this game called Gemmicorn Rainbow Poops. It's a it's a 1 versus 1. It teaches basic color recognition and math. It's addition and color recognition, and it's it's very simple. It's rated for ages 5 and up. It's a family weight game. It's a kids game. And oh, hey dude, how's it going? My artwork is just not right for it. Not because it's a kids game. Like I tried. I did 3 or 4 cards for it. I've done some concept work for it, and the concept artwork, I think, translates for an art brief. It's great for the artist I end up hiring for it. But over the last 6 months, I've been actively seeking out an artist to contract for it. And I talked to Nick. Nick, if you see this for some reason, I'd love to know what you think. I sent you an art brief, and I'd love to hear what you think. But I had a phone call with Nick Nazaro about doing the artwork for it because I think he's a much better fit. I'd also talked to a couple artists that I saw at some makers markets here in Baltimore who were selling their illustrations and want to get into the board game world. I really would like a feminine touch on it. The Gemmicorn Rainbow Poop thing, it's like rainbow glitter thing. I got a whole world building thing about these gnomish style civilization that lives beneath these titanically sized, gigantic crystalline unicorn equine creatures that glide across the skyline. And when they take a shit, their giant crystal poops just rain down destruction on their civilization. So they build up this volunteer corps of the Poopy Patrol that flies around the skies in these inflated dirigibles that with nets and baskets so they can catch the poops before they go to the ground and destroy their civilization. So I got this whole thing. And I really I'd love to actually get a lady artist to work on it because I feel like they bring a style and perspective to the table that myself and a lot of other male artists are just I don't mean to stereotype or typecast people, but
not at all though. But sometimes there is a legitimate perspective, right, that is brought to the table by somebody else.
There's a certain eloquence, there's a certain smoothness and a look, that comes along with lady illustrators that I can't do. It's just not, I can try and fake it, but I just can't do it. So yeah, absolutely. There's another game that we have working on the background called Project Sharkbite, which is a educational game where you're going to be a marine researcher who's trying to do research to bolster a grant application to help save sharks. It's for shark conservation, right? And I would love to get an artist who understands really good anatomical, scientific book level watercolor and colored pencil style artwork.
Almost the equivalent of what Wingspan did with their art, right?
Yeah,
something more textbook. Yeah.
Yeah, something not clinical, but something that is in the same sort of ilk of a National Geographic anatomical exploded view piece of artwork you might see, right?
Right.
So yeah, absolutely. I have no qualms about putting the right artist on the right game.
No, I love it. I just thought of that because it's I have to imagine that just given the stuff you like, if your games have a darker theme, well, then it's very conducive for you to already do the artwork for that. Just not to pigeonhole you, but I've seen Black Mold, so I'm just going to go off of that one stereotype and go, yeah, man, like he's got a style. And so if you had like a darker theme game, well, then it makes sense. But yeah, you can't do a glitter poop falling from the sky. If you pulled that off, I'd be like, hey, cool, awesome. Like this dude's versatile.
I could get there, but Nick's work or some of the other artists that I've talked to would definitely be a better fit.
And also, I feel like Nick Nazaro sounds like a guitarist from one of those metal bands you were naming off earlier. Like seriously, that
Check
name,
out his work.
that dude should be in a band with a name like that. Like that's a badass guitarist.
I don't know what his life is. I mean, he does background and like color palette. He does like color design for like Cartoon Network and stuff. Like he's a
right on.
He's like the real deal. Also really cool dude. What? Can you move on because you should not factor in the
Jim is definitely being a smartass with this comment because he just made a zombie game that just funded today. And one of the things we always comment, he's also the artist.
He's the artist.
We love the zombie art that he's got for it. So he's definitely being a smartass with that comment.
Yeah, Jim's was one of those games where I saw the art for his game and I reached out and asked if we could cover it because just based on the art of the game. I was like, holy crap, this looks beautiful. Like I want to hold on to this. I want to mess around with it. I want to look at it.
You know what? I want to throw something out there. So one thing I've actually noticed is that indie designers are more willing to take a risk with mechanics and be more inventive and come up with things that haven't been done before.
You mean like hold your breath?
I've seen more novel mechanics from indie designers over the last year than I have well-known AAA designers. I just want to say that. Oh no, we lost John. He'll be back. We
lost John.
I'll make sure. Hold on a second. I'm gonna send him the invite link just in case it got buried in his messages.
Yeah, Jim, here's the thing, man. If I would like to think that if I was like, hey, zombie survival infection, really good game, but I hated the art, that you wouldn't come out and go, yeah, but like, you shouldn't talk about the art because that doesn't matter with the game. Because I disagree, but no, Jim's good, dude. He's being funny.
I don't know what happened, John, but I sort of forget where we were on that. But
well, John, his Wi-Fi got bombed by a unicorn crapping from the sky.
It happens.
I just like I've fought more novel mechanics from indie designers lately than
you were saying that.
Established ones. Yes, that's what I was trying to say.
And I made the joke like holding your breath. But no, like legit, like when Mike was telling me about that, like I was like, that's pretty freaking cool. Like that sounds like fun because
hey, there he is.
Hey, there's our guy.
Hey West, what's going on, man?
Yes.
Well, yeah, also, like there's with some of the AAA titles, and I think that like probably the design that gets put in front of the people who take these submissions and decide like, yes, our big company is going to develop this game. It's still got to grab them, and they got to decide how they're going to implement those mechanics and intermingle them with the art direction and all that other stuff. But as far as taking risks, they have like the wisdom and the the sounding board and probably like the team of people to go like, well, we saw an influx of games over the last 6 months that include bees and beehives and honey. So we're going to stay away from that. And they might be doing some stuff where they're forecasting what kinds of themes and what kinds of mechanics are going to go against the stuff we've seen really be prominently featured over the last year, because they have to do stuff that's, they got to do something to keep on moving that wheel grinding forward as far as staying relevant and everything. With indie designers being more risky. I mean, I would love to hear more examples of anything that you guys have seen from other indie pubs that you would call risky, because I need to like fill up my notebook with cool things that I can try and borrow from,
No, I mean, I mean, I think that the idea of just trying different mechanics, trying different things out, maybe not always being in the theme that's popular, right? Like, because here's the thing: is Blood Rage came out. I love Blood Rage. Everybody loved Blood Rage, right? Blah blah blah. Great game. By the time Champions of Midgard came out, I played it. Frankly, the first edition of that rule book was awful, and I did not have a great time playing it. And by the end of it, I realized that it was sort of just like Lords of Waterdeep, but not as much fun for me. And I'd rather play Lords of Waterdeep because I really dig that game. And I was also sick of Viking games by the time that game came out. I've gone back and revisited it. I still don't love Champions of Midgard, but a lot of people do. So I'm fine being in the minority. But it's kind of funny because movies do the same thing where there's this trend, right? There's like, Deep Impact comes out, so we've got to have Armageddon and then whatever other end of the world, meteor hitting the earth, movie. Volcano comes out, and then there's another volcano movie that comes out. It's all that kind of crap all the time. And it happens with board games. It blew my mind to see something that I already knew happened in film translate over and then happen in the board game hobby, where there's like, there's a whole wave of Cthulhu games, or there's a whole wave of zombie games, or there's a whole wave of Vikings games, or there's a whole wave of bees and beehives games, and there's a whole wave of nature games, which is like one of the more recent ones to kind of hit. And after a while,
mushrooms.
Oh, mushrooms? Is it
Yeah. 20 this year was mushroom game. I saw like 3 different games do big numbers that were all about, the theme was about mushrooms. Mycelium.
Okay.
Elizabeth Hargrave is coming out with a mushroom themed game this year in November.
Her butterfly game wasn't that good, but whatever.
He's got your back.
Yeah, see? There's like 7 mushroom games. Technically speaking, Black Mold was a mushroom game.
Yeah, it is.
Fungus.
Yeah, it's a mushroom game.
Sorry, John, you were the first one.
No, I'm backpedaling. Mushroom games more. They're good, and everyone should play them.
You started the trend.
Yeah, it's the best thing you can think of.
Everybody should have like 7 mushroom games in there.
At least 7 mushroom games, and Black Mold should be one of them, almost certainly.
Well, I figured if we said 7, Black Mold should, we big enough umbrella that we could get a.
There you go, Bob. Slide. That's the pass. It's a fantastic voyage, and it's all right.
Wait, Mike, you went off the rails real quick with that one.
I know that was a Coolio song reference. Come on,
it was until it wasn't, and then you just went way.
All right, I just stopped.
Left field. But no, it's kind of funny to see that trend, and it's fine if you're like in the first 2, but after that, it's kind of like, now you're just like the other one. And I don't know if that's the designer, is that the publisher, because sometimes we've seen it happen. You've got a game, John, that you pitch to somebody and they're like, yeah, we like this game, but we're going to take it. We're going to make it a mushroom game. What? You got to be cool with us making it a mushroom game. And it's like, but this game's about Vikings and zombies together and they're fighting. Well, now it's mushrooms. If you want us to sign it, it's got to be mushrooms.
Everybody should be trying to do stuff like you see in Cosmic Frog. That's what I want to see more of. Stay weird as hell in the board game industry.
I want to play Cosmic Frog so bad. That game looks beautiful.
One of our
the theme is trying to get us to play that. Good call. Go weird as fuck with your themes and be odd. Yes. You see, you guys are talking about taking risks. This is why when I'm walking around with my phone off, walking my dog, I am talking about releasing games where you're running a surgical school during the 1860s and you're trying to advance medical science by processing as many dead bodies as possible. See, this is a theme. Nobody's doing Victorian medical schools. Okay, so that's where terrible games comes in.
Abomination Heir to Frankenstein is about as close as you get.
Yeah, hey everybody, hey everyone who has just been thirsting for this theme to hit the table, where you're going to be doing autopsies in front of a gallery of people who are covered in muck and germs and bacteria. Okay, let's see about weird medical practices like lobotomies and bloodletting. That's the game we all want. Let's all admit
Mhm.
it.
We got so
Listen.
many of us here that love these weird themes. I definitely get tired of the same themes over and over. So I really kind of sort of gravitate to these weird ones or the
So
modern themes that there just aren't enough of.
I alluded this earlier when I talked about John Waters, but like the weirder, the better. Like I love before I was into collecting board games, I was into collecting movies, and I loved finding the weirdest, most bizarre movies to
You ever
have
watch
in my
Redneck
collection.
Zombies? You ever watch Redneck
Oh,
Zombies?
Redneck Zombies. Yeah, I've got it on DVD.
Classic. Classic.
Is that the one where the dude's butt crack turns people into zombies? I forget.
I don't know, man. I don't think I've made it all the way through it once. I did own it on VHS back in the day.
I think
The
it's
thing
got
about-
Mojo Nixon in it.
The thing that's a little tricky about the more esoteric and more original and or like less tread themes is you narrow the market. You start to narrow it, more and more. But
So-
that narrowing happens with theme, that happens with art, it happens with everything. So you gotta shoot your shot and make the game you want to make. But
so yeah, John, for you, that's a losing proposition. But for me, like the weirdo that likes to find the crazy stuff, for you trying to make something, like the weirdo for me, I'm like, yeah, like what? This game does what? I gotta at least try it.
Can I talk to you about Repugnant, the world's most disgusting TTRPG? One of the most weird esoteric things that we've ever made that I think is amazing.
Please do.
Yeah, I mean, like, let me see if I have a copy over here. 1 second.
Don't worry, I'm looking for it on your website.
Okay. So I did a live Let's Play of this other indie pub called Neon Lords of the Toxic Wasteland, where my character was incentivized and made to win because I was just being this depraved scumbag. And the feeling I got from playing that character was so liberating that it inspired an offering that we did for Zine Quest a couple of years back called Repugnant, the world's most disgusting TTRPG. And this is a game that thematically is at the crossroads of like the Ninja Turtles, the Toxic Avenger, and the Garbage Pail Kids. Like you're going to be creating a character where you're going to be a zit popping, fart huffing, vomiting, burping, zit popping, like booger eating weirdo. And you're going to be fighting all these crazy monsters that like can.
We've got one of those guys in our game group.
Yeah, everybody's got one.
Yeah.
But like we did like 40 original monsters with stuff like the turd worm, which you don't know if its butt is its head or its head is its butt. And it'll like take a bite out of you and turn it into feces immediately, and like wizards that can hover off the ground and fly by farting. So like we went super weird with it, and it actually did pretty good. We thought we were gonna convert a couple more because for Zine Quest is a really it's a very cool. I love the RPG zine community. It's amazing. But it was one of those things that was absolutely a risk. Like I love it. I think it's great. I know it's not for everybody, but I was hoping there was just more people out there like me, and there were quite a few. I really want to run this one more. I've gotten to run one session on another podcast. I had a ton of fun, and I played it twice as a player character. But it's got a unique D2 system called the Covered in Shit system. And it's got like determination table. It's got everything. It's like 69 pages worth of content. And, that's you only get that kind of weird stuff, provided that, little guys like us, like get to see the people who want to see it made. Like we can put it in front of the people who want to see it made. That's how we get to do it. And yeah, we're going to stay keeping it weird. We're going to try to, at least.
I love it though. No, I love it. I love the crazy stuff. Like I've got this game. It's kind of dumb, but it's super fun to play called Roadkill Rally. And it's a Z-Man game. And you're driving your car, you're laying out tiles, and then like you're playing cards like pedestrians in front of other people's cars to like slow them down because they hit the pedestrian and it slows them down. It does damage to their vehicle. You know what I mean? So it's like it's so dark. It's mean. It's gross. It's off color. Like not everything needs to be super. I don't know. Not everything needs to be Wingspan or Vinos, or what I mean? Like, oh, I'm making wine this time, or oh, we're trading in the Mediterranean. No, sometimes I just want something stupid and grindhouse and fun, but that's kind of like my movie taste too. So, man, I have to look at that.
These are older comments even. I'm going back to
Did
them.
you say the Repugnant? Is that the name of your game? What was the name of your game?
Yeah, Repugnant. Yeah, that's right.
The Repugnant.
So
Okay.
I just want to say only the guy listening to stoner metal can come up with ideas like this. Here's his website. I just want to show you some of this dude's art, okay? Because I think it's awesome. Like there's some stuff like this that you'll find on album covers of bands that we listen to, like very similar stuff. If there's anything you want me to stop on, John, just tell me. But
No,
I
you're
just
good.
love the style of some of this stuff.
Thanks, man.
Like this here seems really straight out of Black Mold. Like this is like one of your original influences. I don't know.
Yeah, that was the black lung image was for a band that's actually from Baltimore. They're a stoner doom band that's from here. And that was a T-shirt I did for them, I think.
I'm loving that They Live inspired. It almost looks like Simpsons meets They Live.
Yeah, that's
art.
all of the work y'all are looking at right now is like over 5 years old. All of this stuff.
Oh, and that's literally a Simpsons. That's even better.
Yeah.
Freaking fantastic. I love it.
Thank you. Thank you.
Oh, I went to. Oh no, what did I do? Sorry, I'll fix it. I'll fix it.
You're all good.
I'll fix it. I swear, we're good. We'll go back.
Fellas, I gotta be up tomorrow at around 6:40 in the morning so I can take my kid to school and get her ready for the day. Could we maybe do another like 10 or 15 minutes before I bounce?
You are good, man. I totally warned everybody that you had about 2 hours, and you've given us even more than that. It's been a blast, so we don't even want you to leave.
Fun, guys.
But
no, John, man, go
totally
ahead.
Understand.
Go ahead and sign off whenever you need to, brother. It's
Yes.
been awesome getting to know you. I appreciate your candor, man. It's really cool. Again, one of the things I love about being able to do this show and do this is to get to meet other. I call you a content creator because you create the content that we, we wouldn't have a show if it weren't for people like you guys. And what?
Look at this.
I know. I love it. I'm loving it.
This is all his old shit. This doesn't even compare to his new stuff, right?
Yeah, I mean, I was still doing stuff with physical mediums there. Like I was still doing like line art on paper and scanning it in and digitally coloring it for a lot of this stuff.
Nice,
dude.
But John, man, anytime you want to come back on and hang with us,
thanks.
I'm down for it, dude. It's awesome. I met John like literally 3 minutes before we started doing this, and I love how comfortable you were. I appreciate that, and just being honest, and kind of talking about some of your experiences and your perspective, because it's not always easy to share that, right? I mean, people can flip out, sometimes people don't want to, lay it out there. And so I respect that. I respect that when you do. So
thanks very much. No, I appreciate that. And yeah, I just like to call it like I sees it and have a discussion that hopefully will be beneficial to whatever it is we're all doing here in this little hobby we call board games. And hopefully it gets us all somewhere where, we have some great understanding about the different people who are trying to make something happen in this little sphere of a passion that we have. And it gets us somewhere where we can all enjoy the hobby a little bit more.
Hell yeah, man. Hell yeah. Well, please come back on sometime and talk to us again. We'll be talking to you because we got a game of yours we got to talk about.
I'm really looking forward to your coverage, guys.
But thank you again for giving us a shot with Black Mold, and thank you for giving us a shot with Valka.
Thank you, guys.
It's not nothing, man. And also just coming on and talking to us on the live stream, because I know we were pumping that and everything, but for the most part, I mean, we spent a lot of time talking about what you wanted to talk about, which was, can reviewers and, content creators, like be honest and what's their opinion and all of that. That's such a fun topic. So
hell yeah.
But go get some sleep. I'm with you. I mean, I'll be up a little bit later, but you know, I also got to take my kiddo to the school early in the morning, so I totally get that. You're going to catch no flack from me on that one, man. But John, it was
Wes,
truly a
Bob,
pleasure.
yeah, you guys, thank you guys so much. This is super fun. Everybody in the chat, thanks for hanging out. It's good to hear from y'all. And yeah, thanks for having me. Before I sign out, November 7th on Kickstarter. If you're watching this, if you see this later, please back us as soon as you can when the project starts. I know that a lot of creators say this, but for some of the smaller publishers, funding in the first 42 or 48 hours is a really, really big thing that can help us like a lot. It launch pads us into a point where we can feel a lot safer about the project, where a lot of people who are visiting it for the first time, you know, maybe in the middle or towards the end, can feel a lot safer on it. So any support that we receive, we are eternally grateful. And that also extends to you guys at the Board Game Rundown. Thank you guys for your support and your coverage. And we appreciate you guys helping us get a signal boost out there.
You just keep it punk rock, John. I love it, man. I love it.
Till I die, dude. Until I'm dead.
John, you're awesome, dude.
You guys are cool
really
too.
cool
Thank
stuff.
you guys for having me.
Cannot wait to cover your game.
Yeah, it's going to be fun, man.
Later, fellas. Thank you guys.
Peace out, man. Have a good night.
Man. Appreciate
Later.
you. Dude, how fun was that guy?
Mike, thanks for making that happen, man. I had no idea what that was going to be like, to be completely honest, because I never talked to John. You have literally done all the communicating between John and the channel. Because you arranged for Black Mold. You arranged for Black Mold to happen. You arranged for Valka to happen. So I literally just was like, well, we'll just see what goes. We'll see what happens.
Right?
Because you just don't know. But he was so loose and so candid. Like, hell yeah. Love it. Love it. So
John killed it. I need to get back to him about our anniversary, 1-year anniversary Whiskey Wednesday episode, which we're going to talk to you guys about right now. Because why not? Crap. Why not? John, you were awesome, dude. Man, that was actually the first time we had West in studio too. West came in and he had already played Black Mold on Quackalope, and then he came into our studio to play Black Mold again. And that was honestly that was the first time we had West on Board Game Rundown. It was freaking awesome. So yeah, guys, in case you didn't know, we are very close to our 1-year anniversary of Whiskey Wednesdays. Our very first Whiskey Wednesday, or at least the very first episode of me and Tim simultaneously streaming, was November 30th of last year. We had a couple other episodes that was like Tim did an episode, then I did one, then he did one, then I did one. But November 30th was the first time we did one of these. And so we're going to do an anniversary, 1-year anniversary of Whiskey Wednesdays on November 29th. Anybody, including you guys that are in the chat, I know West was one of them. Jim Cole is one of them. There's even more of them I'm surely missing that have been on our stream. We want you back on November 29th. That is the last Wednesday of November. That is also the Wednesday after Thanksgiving. Yes, West, you're going to be in that. We want you to come back. We're going to relive quickly the topic that you talked about. We want you to talk about your favorite gaming experience from 2023. And then we want to hear what your single best new to you game is from 2023. Our goal is to bring every single guest we have ever had on Whiskey Wednesday all in one day on our 1-year anniversary of Whiskey Wednesdays. Tim and I came up with this idea basically today, and I cannot wait to make this happen.
So I had this thought like 2 weeks ago, and it finally became coherent enough to try to express it in a way. So we figure if we give everybody like 10, 15 minutes, you don't have to stay long. I just want people to pop in and as a way to share our joy with all of these people that have come on and contributed to what has just been an awesome thing for Mike and I for a year. This is so awesome that we do it. Like, it doesn't matter what Mike's day's been like. It doesn't matter what my day's been like. We always look forward to this. Mike and I are constantly messaging about this all the time. And I just really would love it if we could get as many people as we could to just give us like 5 minutes to like pop in. And yeah, Jim, it's your time, brother. You can do whatever you want with it. But I guarantee you, I will have at least one of those whiskeys on that list you sent me on the Discord that I'll be sipping on by then. But no, I would love to be able to make this happen. We've got to start sending out messages. I haven't reached out to anybody about this yet. I was going to reach out to Googs first. But yeah, I mean, all these, everybody else, I feel like needs to, if we can get everybody to come in, we'll let them pick a time, come on in, man, come and do this. If you want to stick around for a bit, you can, but otherwise, like, just give us 10 minutes, just pop in for 10 minutes. What's your best story of the year so far? And why was it, hanging out with us at Board Game Rundown? Or what was your favorite game of the year so far? You're new to you game.
Used to the self-deprecation. I was expecting you to say, why did Board Game Rundown ruin your year of gaming?
No, I went left on that.
Ooh, that's the Wednesday before PAX.
So, West, is that good or bad? Is that good? Like, will you be in transit or will you be available? That's the question.
Yeah. Unfortunately,
because otherwise we could try to do it the Wednesday before Thanksgiving, but that could be rough too.
Well, I know. I just expect it would be harder to get guests in. I'm available. Tim's available, but it's just, is that the Wednesday we pick? We're open. It doesn't have to be exactly on, the date. We're just at the end of this month. We're nearing on our 1 year Whiskey Wednesday anniversary. And as we mentioned earlier, this whole channel started as a totally in studio idea by a game store owner. And then a year ago, Tim and I said, why are we not doing content from home? We would get a lot more content if we could do it from home. And that is where the whole idea of Whiskey Wednesday came from. Now here we are, almost a year later, with dozens of you guys being awesome guests, including John. He crushed it, dude. Like, he picked a great topic.
Yeah.
He was really poignant with what he wanted to say. And again, a little over a year ago, I reached out to him because I loved his art on that game. And I saw sponsored ads literally in my Facebook feed that said, your turn will last as long as your breath. And I'm like, is that literal? Like, do you hold your breath on a turn? Yes, you do. And that is one of the most unique things I had ever heard of in a game. And I reached out to him and said, hey, can we cover your game? And that was right around the time that we started talking to this West guy in our comments. And he's like, hey, I've covered that game. So we all collaborated on a really sweet preview video for Black Mold. But it's really cool. Here we are a year later doing a Whiskey Wednesdays that long and covering, another game for John, who really crushed it today.
Yeah, he was fun. He was really fun. Again, I loved having a very spirited conversation, and dude's got opinions, and I love being able to present sort of the other side to some of those, even though I agree with him. I mean, what he's saying makes sense, but I also just love playing devil's advocate for the sake of conversation. Yeah, Mike, great job. Thank you for lining him up. I cannot wait to message him and just talk to him about other stuff. Like, I feel like I can do that now. You know what I mean?
I know, right? Like, John's pretty awesome. And I had told him, even before we were in our well, it was really during our pre-show meeting that, I've really only talked to him about his games and, like, rule clarifications and when we'd get content out for it. I've never really had an actual conversation about John, even though I knew we probably had a lot in common. And sure enough, we really did. He did not disappoint. I really enjoyed him today.
Not at all. It was really good. It was really fun. Yeah. Yeah, it was everything I wanted out of it. It really was. So, Mike,
Yeah, just I didn't know if you tagged Wes comment or not. I was kind of flipping between tabs here, but Wes, we're okay with that 1 year anniversary episode, the Wednesday after Thanksgiving. We're okay with people just coming on for 10 or 15 minutes. That's really all we're trying to do. We're trying to get everybody that we've had on Whiskey Wednesday in the last year to just pop on for a little bit. That's all we need. If you got 10 or 15 minutes, we'll take it.
yeah, we'll
Tim,
have
I
to.
know you're about to segue.
I
I'm
was.
at that point where I probably got to take that bathroom break.
Okay, go for the bathroom break. Go run for your bathroom break. And
I can't avoid these anymore. Apparently, I'm getting old. I'm multiple years after 40. I should get my prostate checked because I can't even check. I can't even get through a whole Whiskey Wednesday without a pee break anymore.
well, what was Bob doing up there all last weekend? If he wasn't checking your prostate. All right, go to the bathroom, man. Go take a
I'll be
leak.
right back.
Go take a leak. Get it over with. Yeah, I think Mike was showing off tonight because he's sitting at his game table again and not playing couch Mike. I had one of my friends that doesn't normally, he's not a gamer. He occasionally like watches the show a little bit. And he's like, so did your co-host, did he have like surgery or something? Why is he sitting on the couch now? And instead of, because it looked like he was at like a desk or something before. I'm like, no, he just got comfortable. He just got real lazy with it. Yeah, Jim, that's how we roll. Come on, man. If you're gonna bring the heat, I know you're gonna show up and you're gonna throw some fireballs, and I love it. But that's what we're gonna do. That's what we're gonna do. But no, hopefully you guys found this interesting. I think when Mike gets back, we're gonna play. Mike is for a change. He is going to trivia. He's gonna hit me with some trivia. I just on Monday went to horror movie trivia, and it was very flattering. I was asked to join a group of people because I'm a bit of a ringer, and I'm really mad because we only missed 2 questions, and one of them, and yeah, there you go. Thank you, John. You're the man. Dude, it was a blast. We missed the one question we missed that lost us the whole thing was Final Jeopardy style. And that question was, what is the highest grossing horror movie of all time adjusted for inflation? So the answer we gave was correct. We found out the next day, depending on what website you look at. But it was not the correct answer according to whatever website our trivia person was looking at. So literally the team that beat us had to bet everything and get it right because we were that far ahead in our horror movie trivia. And so does anybody have a guess without looking it up? Honor system, highest grossing horror movie of all time adjusted for inflation. Now, I will tell you, we were beating everybody by tons of points leading up to this. And not to brag, but it was a point of pride. The only other question we missed was in Get Out. How does the main character prevent from being hypnotized? Oh, Donnie, good guess, but that is incorrect. Level up convert.
Ooh, remind me where Level Up is at. It's on the east somewhere.
Blue Falcon. It is not The Exorcist. I can tell you that. Mike, it is. West literally says in that same comment that Level Up is in New Jersey.
Did I just not read all the way?
Correct.
Different comment. Oh, in New Jersey. There we go. Yeah, East Coast. I thought so. Probably tough.
So our answer, which according to some websites was correct, was Jaws. But the correct answer, according to the person doing the trivia, which is technically it was their trivia, so they're right, was It Chapter 1 from like 2016, whatever year that It movie came out. So we were a little miffed because we got every other question right, like so fast. Bing, bang, boom, 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 boom. So anyways, all this time I've been giving Mike trivia, and I was like, Mike, you need to have some trivia for me. Give me some trivia so everybody doesn't have to watch you sweat over everything going on. John, Blair Witch would have been a good guess, except it wasn't net, because then that would have been Paranormal Activity, like the cheapest movie that made the most money. That's a horror movie, is Paranormal Activity. Blair Witch was probably before that, but Paranormal Activity like took that by a mile after. But the new, and also what threw us off with that trivia question was adjusted for inflation, which then implies an older movie. Holy crap. All the Puppet Masters, is that New Moon? I believe that's New Moon was the name of the studio that made those. Man, I watched at least the first 3 or 4 of those probably 30 times. Yeah, super bad fun horror movies. Sweat in a Snuggie. That's what Jim said. Jim was somebody asked why you weren't on the couch tonight.
So I have 2 monitors. I finally set the other one up and moved back to my other more professional kind of setup here. Just because, just because couch mic is an option, that's great. I don't have to move my laptop. But yeah, I got another setup over here, and I'm still constantly monitoring, changing my setup.
Mike, I got a funny story for you while you're getting ready. My buddy, so I do Mystery at the Mansion like once a year. It's like a murder mystery in this historical mansion in downtown South Bend. And what you do is you get a tour of the mansion, and while you do that, you go through, and in different rooms there's actors, or maybe one actor, that are like doing a scene. They're playing a character, and then by the end of the tour, you're supposed to figure out who did the thing. And so every year I do this scene with one of my best friends. We did radio and theater like all the way back in high school. We do it every year. They literally, I just found this out this weekend, they literally write a scene for us every year. They make sure there's a scene with 2 guys in it so that we can do it together every year. So my buddy and I were doing this scene, and the thing is there's 24 to 30, 40 tours like on both nights that we do it. So we do this scene, and then like a minute later we do it again, and a minute later we do it again, and we do it like 30 times in a night, right? In between these scenes, my buddy's like, so your co-host on your Wednesday live stream, did he have surgery or something? And I'm like, what? No, why? And he's like, well, like one week I watch, and he's looks like he's at like a desk or something, and then the next couple of weeks I watch, he's on the couch with a blanket. He just assumed that you had surgery. I go, no, the dude's just lazy. That's couch Mike. That's couch Mike just being lazy.
Wow.
I was like, that's couch Mike.
Thanks for covering for me, Tim.
I got you, bro. I got your back, bro.
Yeah, that's great. I appreciate that. Yeah, I literally don't want to move my laptop once a week and move the monitor and the microphone and the camera and the mouse and the keyboard. Yeah, I would just rather leave shit in one spot, but I have another monitor. It's not as good. I'll just leave this stuff over here for a bit.
I am literally the guy that bought another headset so that I didn't have to bring mine from my PlayStation down here every week. So I get it.
You don't even play your PlayStation anymore.
I do, just not as much.
Your kids do. Whatever. Your kids do.
Blue Falcon. Those are 2 of my all-time favorite, not just movies, but horror movies. Oh, that's really tough.
Tim's brought me over to The Thing. All right, Tim. I know
The Thing might be my favorite, but I love them both.
Ooh,
I love Aliens so much. All right, so Mike is going to give me trivia tonight. I've been giving Mike trivia.
Yeah.
And Mike's always like, oh, I'm not good at movie trivia, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, Mike, give me movie trivia. Let me rock it. Let me flex.
So here's what I did. We're going to allow Tim to flex. We've got some potentially difficult trivia. So I have a game that I played as a kid with my parents that I found like mint at a Goodwill. And this was originally released in 1986 and it's called Outburst. Okay.
Yeah, let's go.
This is
Let's go.
basically the Family Feud. This is okay. 10 people were surveyed, or 100 people were surveyed, and the top 10 answers were that's the game. It's not that great of a party game, but considering Tim loves trivia, this should be pretty fun. Now, Outburst was originally released in 1986. I had to look it up. This is actually second edition, Tim. So this version came out in 1988.
Okay, I
And
was 10 years old.
These cards are pristine, dude. Like this version never got played. And I think I found it in the Goodwill on Ireland in South Bend. So Tim is going to have to give me top 10s that are pre 1988.
Turnabout is fair play.
And I feel like so many of these are just right up his alley. So I can't wait for this. Let me find a couple good ones and you can pick. We're going to start with your pick of Sylvester Stallone films, pre 1988,
Got him.
or classic Star Trek.
Give me Stallone first because I feel like that's going to be easier.
Tim, I have so many more. There's like, I picked out like 40 cards that I said Tim will like these. 40 cards. We have weeks worth of Whiskey Wednesday content here. So the way that Outburst works is one person takes this little card, Sylvester Stallone films, and you can see they took the novelty of making sure you just can't read it off of the card.
I got all the answers. I just saw all the answers right there.
Yeah, and you just got to insert it into this thing that'll show you the answers. You flip one of those when somebody gets it right. So we're going to have Tim tell us Sylvester Stallone films, the top 10 pre 1988.
And that's it. It's just top 10.
Top 10 Sylvester Stallone films. This version of the game came out in 1988.
Okay, so Rocky 2,
Yes.
Rocky 3.
No.
Okay, First Blood,
Yes.
Rhinestone Cowboy.
Yes.
Okay, Rocky 3 is not on there.
No.
Rocky 4 isn't done, right?
No.
Okay. Sly Stallone now
You
after
have 4 out of 10.
What's the one he's like on the cover with like black sunglasses? Cobra.
Yes.
Okay. Is Rambo 2 on there?
Rambo First Blood Part 2.
Okay.
Yes.
Yep. Okay.
So you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6.
Okay. Now what about is Rambo 3 on there? I can't believe Rambo 3 would be on there and Rocky
No.
3 isn't. Okay. Gosh, I might be stumped after that. The arm wrestling one isn't on there, is it? Over the top?
Oh, yes. Number 7.
Oh God, really? That's
Now, I don't know if this is officially Family Feud and they polled 100 people. I don't know that. Nobody knows how they procured their top 10 for Outburst. They don't say.
okay, what are the other ones? Give me the other ones.
Well, our buddy Donnie here has one of them correct.
No!
Tango and Cash is number 10,
God.
Donnie.
Fucking Kurt Russell and Sly Stallone.
The thing is, these last 2, I don't really know anything about.
Oh, wait. Is it Stop or My Mom Will Shoot?
No.
Damn. Okay.
We have No.
Okay, that was 90s.
One of these starts off like one of our favorite gateway games.
Clue?
No,
No,
it's 3
give me a
words.
clue. Give me a clue.
Man. You, me, and Bob love it. Dan hates it.
Oh, because it's fun?
Well, but that's just the way this movie starts out in its title. All right. I don't know these two movies, so my movie help is limited.
Okay.
Trying to use board games to give you hints, and it's terrible. Number 8 is Fist.
Oh, I don't know Fist. Okay.
Number 9 is Lords of Flatbush.
Okay.
So Lords of is what I was trying to lead you
Vegas,
to.
right? Lords of Hellas.
Waterdeep,
Yeah.
you name it. Yes. There you go. Your top Sylvester Stallone films pre-1988. But
Dang,
Tim,
Tango and Cash. I thought that was like a 90s movie, but that must have been late 80s. Must have been 88.
With no help, you still got 7 out of 10 pre-1988.
All right, give me the
Okay.
Trek one. Give me the Trek one, I guess.
Okay. Well, let me do this. I still have options. And
Okay,
I'll
whatever.
provide classic Star Trek or characters created by the original Saturday Night Live cast.
Ooh. Man, that characters created as by the OG SNL cast is sneaky tricky. But let's try that one because I do love me some SNL.
Nice.
All
right. So we polled 100 people and we asked them, what are their top 10 characters created by the original Saturday Night Live cast? Tim, what are your answers?
Susanna Dana or whatever her name is from Gilda Radner.
Say that again.
Susanna Dana something.
I feel like you're close, but you don't have it.
Come on, it's Susanna Banana
Roseanne.
Oh, is that what it is?
Rosanna Dana?
Yeah.
Rosanna Dana.
It's Gilda Radner. Yeah.
That is number 1.
All right. How about Jim's got it. Yeah, Rosanna Dana.
Yeah. I know what you meant.
Oh yeah, look at that. Like Donnie's even backing me up, but I thought it was Susanna or Rosanna. Yeah, Dana.
Yeah, that.
How about the Samurai Taylor or the Samurai anything?
The Samurai Warrior?
Yeah. Yeah, it's Jim Belushi.
6.
Because he's just always the samurai. Coneheads.
No. Oh, okay. Number 4. Sorry.
It's Coneheads? Okay. Number 4, Coneheads. Then there is the Lounge Singer on there?
No.
Okay, because Bill Murray may not count because he wasn't in the original cast, I don't think.
Oh, don't look. Bob's got one. This is one of the few I knew.
What about
original
Mr. Bill?
SNL.
What about Mr. Bill?
No. I'm not great with original SNL. I'm like late 80s, early 90s.
Okay. Hold on. There's
How about
no. Jake and Elwood Blues. Blues Brothers.
Yes. Number 3.
Are the Killer Bees on there?
Yes. Number 8.
All right. So then would the Land Shark be on there? Candygram.
Yes. Number
Candygram.
10. The Shark.
Yeah. Land Shark. What about hold on. Let's see. Who did the Steve Martin bit with Steve Martin? Two wild and crazy guys.
Yes, that's number 2.
Oh shit. Okay.
That's one of the few I knew. Bob, no. I was surprised Buckwheat is not on here.
No, that's Eddie Murphy. That was early 80s.
That's not original. You're right.
Not original.
That's where I'm not great. I'm like 80s, 90s.
Were the whiners? Is the whiners on there?
Yes, number 9. So you have 1 through 4. You have 6, 8 through 10. You're missing number 7 and number 5.
I'm doing better with SNL than I was with Sly.
Yes, number 5 is a female character.
Okay. Oh, is it was
And
it Barbara
7 might-
Wawa?
That's number 7. Number 5, another female character.
Okay. Ooh. I give up on the last one. I give up on the last one.
I don't know this one. Emily Latella?
I wouldn't have guessed that.
I have no idea who that is.
But Barbara
So
Wawa was.
So literally just by giving you gender, Tim, you got 9 out of 10 on original SNL characters. Crushing it. Look at this guy. Okay. So, would you like... Man, I knew that you would still destroy this, even though it was like pre-1988. This is crazy. Okay. And these cards are mint condition. Like, this is a terrible game, but I got this at Goodwill for like $2.99 like 3 years ago. This is already worth it.
Before I got into the hobby, this was the game I lived for because I'm like, let's go.
Oh, I can see that too. Like, oh, I know all the answers.
I know all these answers. I know everything.
Okay. Classic Star Trek or films with blue in the title.
Okay, give me classic Star Trek.
Okay, he's finally getting it here. We polled 100 people, and we asked them, what are the top 10 things you think of when mentioning classic Star Trek?
Okay, Tribbles.
Say that again?
Tribbles.
No.
Kirk.
Number 1.
Spock. Number 2.
Number 2.
McCoy.
No.
Scotty.
Number 4.
Beam Me Up.
No.
Enterprise.
Number 7.
Nurse Chapel.
Number 9.
Okay. Let's see. Scotty, McCoy, Chapel, Beam Me Up. Transporters.
No.
Phasers.
No.
Romulans.
No.
Klingons.
There you go. Number 8.
Uhura.
Number 3.
Sulu.
Number 6.
Chekhov.
Number 5. You are missing number 10 only.
The Menagerie. City on the Edge of Tomorrow.
No.
Red Shirt.
No.
Ensign. Captain. Okay, give me a clue. Give me a clue.
Anatomy. I don't know Star Trek at all, guys, so my clues are
ears.
probably...
Ears.
No.
Forehead.
So my clues are very abstract, very literal. Anatomy.
Hands.
No.
All hands on deck. Fuck, I don't know. What's the last one?
Number 10 is bones.
Oh, Bones, because that's McCoy. He's known as Bones. Oh my God, I should have had that. So Scott, I just looked at my comments now. Scott, we are doing, Mike is finally giving me trivia, but the twist is that it's Outburst from 1986. So he's giving me a category and I've got to name as many of the 10 items from that category as I can. Donnie, Khan would have been a great answer because Wrath of Khan, I believe, came out in 82 and then Space Seed was in season 1, which is really funny because a fun point that people like to make out of Wrath of Khan is that when Khan sees Chekhov on that planet, He's like, I never forget to face. Well, here's the thing: is Chekhov wasn't in Trek until season 2, so it's just you have to like give them a little grace and be like, oh well, Chekhov was on the he was in the crew, he just wasn't on the show until season 2. But anyways, super fun. Played by Ricardo Montalban, and in Star Trek II: Wrath of Khan is not only the best Star Trek movie ever made, but just a freaking fantastic movie. Probably in my top 25 movies of all time.
Yeah, so guys, we had John de Campos on earlier, and we had a really great discussion with him about his games and the media's role in board gaming. You can rewind for that or watch it later. But I busted out Outburst, which originally came out in 1986, but we are playing this second edition version, which is I thought I saw it. Where the hell did it go? Why do I not see the version I have now?
I don't know.
No, that's Outburst 2. Anywho, I thought I saw that this that's not Concordia. I thought I saw that this
It's
version came out
certainly
in
not.
1988. Regardless, 86, 88. We're talking about a top 10 Family Feud style top 10 pre 1988. That's Tim's trivia for the night. So we're playing Outburst, me and Tim. I picked some topics that I'd know, but I'm catering these towards Tim's knowledge. So now, Tim, I put one of these at the back of the deck, and that was movies with blue in the title. Since you skipped it a couple times, we can come back to that a different week. Your options now are non-animated TV animals or films with night in the title with an N, not a K.
Ooh. How about non-animated TV animals?
I thought that's what you'd pick.
Mm.
All right. So we polled 100 people, and the top 10 answers are on the board. Tim, the top 10 non-animated TV animals by name.
Number 1 has to be Mr. Ed.
He's number 2.
That's bullshit. Throw this game out. Throw this game out.
I'm throwing this card. I'm throwing this card out.
Just the whole thing goes. Is
$2.99 good movie.
Arnold on there?
No.
What? The talking pig from Green Acres isn't on there? Lassie.
Number 4.
Okay. Silver.
Number 10.
Silver's 10?
Yeah.
Trigger.
Number 7. Yeah, Donnie, I honestly thought Lassie would be number 1, but
I thought Mr. Ed would be number 1 and Lassie would be 2.
There's definitely another Nick at Night mention on here.
Is Benji on there? Benji might have only been movies, but Benji.
No.
Flipper.
Yes, number 5. That was my Nick at Night mention.
They call him Flipper.
Faster than lightning.
Yeah.
No one you see.
Let me see.
Faster than he.
Let's see. So we said Lassie. I said Mr. Ed. We said Benji, Flipper. Gosh. Lancelot Lynx.
No.
Oh, come on. A talking monkey was the best. Non-animated. Did you ever watch Lancelot Link? Were you aware of Lancelot Link? Oh, okay. Non-animated animal. Lucky.
No.
And
no, Scott, it's not Alf.
Alf's not an animal.
I love the reference. He's an alien. Life form.
No, Lancelot Link used to make me laugh, even though it's probably horrible for the animals, because it was like a show with all monkeys that like looked like they were talking and somebody like dubbed over the dialogue.
Yeah, but it was 5 out of 10.
Ugh, this is a rough one. Okay, so who are some other animals? I said Silver. I said Trigger.
You don't have number 1.
How do I not have number 1?
I don't know who this is. I really don't. I'm Googling it. How
All
is
right,
this number
Google it.
one?
Google it and give me a clue. When you got it. Oh wait, was
It was
see
turned into a film.
Cheetah?
No.
Okay, I wasn't sure if there wasn't that the name of Tarzan's monkey friend was Cheetah. Um,
Oh God, that's why this is like way before our time. Good
okay,
grief.
okay. Give me a clue. Do you have a clue?
I mean, Mr. Ed is a clue.
Well,
It's not a very good one. This is just way before our time, I guess.
okay.
Man,
Non-animated TV animal
let me
character.
go for some other hints, I guess.
Give me a hint on another one, and then we'll move on. I won't
Yeah.
belabor the point.
No, you're
I feel
good.
good. I got 5 of them, so I'm not. That's not terrible.
You're missing another dog and another cat.
Oh, Salem, but that wasn't. That was 90s.
Non-animated, Jim. That's what makes this tough. Not
Yeah.
good guess, not Toto.
Oh yeah, that's a movie though. It's got to be a TV show.
TV. Yeah, this is actually probably tougher than you're thinking. I'm running out of clues. I don't.
All right, Mike, read them off. Read them
There's
off.
some of them I've never even heard of. So number one is Flicka.
Oh, Flicker was a
My
horse.
friend Flicka, which was a
Yeah.
horse.
Mwah, mwah.
Rin Tin Tin.
Oh, I should have had Rin Tin Tin. Son of a
This is
bitch.
a dog.
Yep.
Gentle Ben.
Uh,
I don't know what that is. Gentle Ben is a TV series.
I feel
from
like
the
that should be an ape.
50s.
I feel like it's an ape, but I don't
It's
know.
a bear.
Oh, it's a bear.
Uh,
Okay.
Yeah. Number 8 was the cat, Morris the cat.
Morris from the commercials.
And then number 9, I don't know what this is referring to. 9 is Fred, Beretta's cockatoo.
Oh, okay. Yeah, Beretta. I remember Beretta and his freaking bird.
Sure. Yeah, lost me on some of those.
That's all right, man. I
All
got
right.
5. I got 5. I feel good. I feel
Not
good. I
bad
got 5.
considering how tough some of those were.
I'm just
Okay.
mad I didn't get Rin Tin Tin. I don't feel bad about Flicka because I never watched that. But Rin Tin Tin, I should have had.
Okay, I got 2 really, really good ones for you here. If you'd like, we can end the show with both of these because I know you'll enjoy these, and
Let's
we
go,
need to
brother.
do both. And so many more to pick in future episodes. I'm literally staring at like 35, 40 cards that you didn't pick that you'll love.
Ugh. Well, it's not
Okay.
like you went through all of them and I said no.
No, I actually went through all of them and carefully selected them for your knowledge base.
I love it.
All right. We have James Bond films, probably too easy. Or Jack Nicholson films.
Let's do them both. Which one do you want to do first?
It's your call. That's why I knew we were going to finish with both of these.
Let's finish strong. Let's start with Bond.
Okay.
Oh, my first love, James
I have
Bond.
so many freaking more cards. This is insane. Wait, no. We have to end with a different one.
That's fine. We're gonna do these 2 and we'll do the other
We'll
one.
do these, yes.
And then we'll do the one that you chose. Here's the thing.
We gotta go on theme.
My middle name is James. And as a kid, like I wanted to be James Bond so bad. So we're gonna go James Bond. Yeah. Timothy James Aberley. And my social security number is 555. Anyways,
a very little known fact is that my first name is James.
Yeah. I believe I told you my middle name was James when you told me your first name was James.
Yes,
I was like, oh.
I go by my middle name. I always have.
And no offense to TJ, but I never wanted to be called TJ, even though I legitimately could have gone by TJ.
Right? You could have. All right.
Anyways, James Bond.
Nobody calls me by James unless I'm in trouble or I owe him money.
No doubt. All right, Bond films.
Or their doctors. All right, Bond films pre-88.
Yeah, speaking of doctors, Dr. No,
Correct.
Thunderball,
Number 3. 4.
Tomorrow Never Dies, Never Say Never Again, Goldfinger,
1.
From Russia with Love, which I believe was the
2.
last movie JFK saw in theaters before he was assassinated. Let's see what Thunderball, From Russia with Love, Moonraker,
5. You have the top
Octopussy,
5? No.
A View to a Kill,
8.
Never Say Never Again. Did I say that one already?
Yeah, not on here.
The Man with the Golden Gun.
No, you're missing
What?
6, 9, and 10.
Come on, The Man with the Golden Gun's got Christopher Lee as the main villain, Scaramanga.
No.
Okay. Which ones have I named again? Oh wait, hold on. Casino
Goldfinger?
Royale.
No.
Okay, because that was actually
From
made.
Russia with Love, Dr. No, Thunderball, Moonraker, Never Say Never Again, A View to Kill. You're
The
missing
Spy Who
3.
Loved Me.
No. Wait. YOLO.
You Only Live Once.
Except it's not once.
You Only Live Twice.
There you go. It's number 6.
Die Another Day. No, wait, that's a newer one.
No.
I got 2 left.
Yeah.
I'm running through my brain because I have a bunch of the old Ian Fleming books. And I've read them all. Let's see. We said The Spy. I've said The Spy Who Loved Me. I said From Russia with Love. Let's see. Newer ones were like Living Daylights, License to Kill. I got to say them to get them out of my brain. The World Is Not Enough. Quantum of Solace, Casino Royale. Die Another Day. Did I say that one?
Not on here.
Paul McCartney song that was written for the movie Live and Let Die.
No.
Damn it. I said Goldfinger already, right? I should have, because they filmed parts of that in Louisville.
No. You're missing another Connery one.
I'm missing 2, right?
You're missing 2. One's a Connery one.
And you don't know who did the other one?
I'll look.
Or is it's either George Lazenby or Roger Moore. They're the only other 2 options. I just forget the name of the Lazenby one. I might have already said it.
Whoa, this other one is 89. So when the heck did this version come out?
So is it the Living Daylights then?
No.
It's
So
not licensed. It's not Licensed to Kill.
That's number 10.
Okay.
Did you say that already?
I did, but I said it wasn't that.
Okay. Okay. You're missing 1.
And it's not The Man with the Golden Gun.
No.
Okay, because see, Bob
It's a Connery one.
Yeah, it's a Connery. Man with the Golden Gun was Roger Moore.
This is early 70s.
So I said Thunderball. I said From Russia with Love. I said
let me see. I'm looking at the guesses. Nobody has it correct.
Does it tell you that it's a Connery one? Is that how you know?
I'm Googling.
Okay. Does it have Donald Pleasance in it?
No.
Because he played the Dr. Evil guy for a minute.
It's got Sammy Davis Jr. in it.
Blowfield. What? All right, give it to me.
Like just a cameo.
Give it to me.
It is Diamonds Are Forever.
Diamonds Are Forever. Fuck, I should have done that one. Jeff.
Nobody got. Oh,
Jeff
there it
came
is.
in
Jeff
last.
chimes in at the very end for that one.
Man, haven't seen
Nice.
Jeff in a hot minute. Hope you're doing well, buddy. Good to see you, man. Hope you're doing well.
So one of those again was 1989, and now I'm again questioning when this one version came out. Man, I may have to like that might be another Google.
That's all right. That's all right. I got most of those. It took me a minute, but I
Like
got most of them.
9 out of 10.
Okay, so what
That's
was the other one? It was
Diamonds Are Forever. That's
no
all
no
you
no
missed.
no the other the you said there was
Oh,
two and then there's one you're gonna throw on
oh,
late.
yes. So you our penultimate topic here is Jack Nicholson films.
Okay, so Jeff, to fill out the last bit of time, usually I've been doing trivia, but it's been me giving Mike trivia. And Mike's like, "Oh no, I suck at trivia, like unless it's this or that." And so I asked Mike
Rude.
to come up with some trivia to give me. So he has busted out this copy of Outburst, which is either from the late 80s or early 90s. It's got to be from the early 90s because I'm pretty sure Tango and Cash was like 1990. I really firmly believe that Tango and Cash was not an 80s movie. Okay, so Jack Nicholson films. Mike, are you ready?
I am ready.
Let's just go with the first one I ever remember seeing Jack Nicholson in. Are you ready?
Yep.
Little Shop of Horrors.
No.
Ah, well, that was fun to try. Okay, how about Easy Rider?
No.
One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest.
There you go. Number
Thank
3.
you. I was that better be. The Shining.
Number 8.
What? Number 8? The Shining. How about Pritzi's Honor?
No.
The Two Jakes.
10.
Chinatown.
4.
The Last Detail.
No.
The Witches of Eastwick.
9.
Okay. Wolf.
No.
Batman.
1.
Thank you.
That was the one I was waiting on.
Yeah. All right.
Number 2, I remember.
All right. Hold on. Okay. I said Chinatown. Let's see. Other Jack Nicholson. Man, 80s was his freaking heyday. He was cranking out movies in the 80s. And the early 90s. Something's got to give, right? That's not on there, right?
No.
Okay, good. Okay.
So the original Batman came out in 89. So this version is at least 89.
At least 89.
I'm still confirming exactly what year this edition came out.
At least 89.
The box tells me.
Okay. Why am I drawing a blank on other Jack Nicholson movies from like the 70s?
Nick's is saying wow, Tim.
I don't know what that's for. Am I missing something obvious? I must be missing something obvious.
Yeah, there's one I remember.
Give me a clue.
I just dropped. Oh my god! I just dropped like 150 outburst cards on my floor. I hate my life. I'm about to play 150 card pickup. Not tonight though. F that. This shit can wait. There are 30 cards on the ground. Oh my god. I don't even know what happened to the ones I was gonna pick. I gotta sort those again. Okay. Terms of endearment.
Is that the clue or is that the name of the movie?
That's number 2.
Oh, I thought you were going to give me a clue.
Sorry.
I thought Robert Duvall was in terms of it. Oh, wait. The postman always rings twice.
I remember Terms of Endearment, Tim. That's the one I remembered. I don't really know the rest.
Look at the postman always rings
Well,
twice. Is that on there?
no.
Oh, come on. Jessica Lange.
One of them is like half the name of a Van Halen album. No, that doesn't help. There are so many cards on this floor. This is stupid.
Oh my God.
Donnie's got a point. Couch Mike never would have dropped 150 Outburst cards on the ground. Like I literally just dumped them. Like look how big this. Look how empty this box is. That's cards I just dropped.
So thanks to Mike, thanks to my buddy. I now want to call Couch Mike post-op Mike.
Yes. Who said that? Oh, your buddy that was like, what?
Why did he move?
Did your buddy have surgery?
Yeah.
No. He's just doesn't give a shit. It's worse than that.
Yeah. Okay. So Terms of Endearment, I missed.
So many cards. So I'm gonna do this.
How many do I have left? How many do I have left, Mike?
2.
That's it? I'm just missing 2?
Yeah. That's just what you can see. Here's under the table. That's too dark to see, isn't it? Dang.
Yeah.
There's so many.
All right, Mike, give me the 2 I missed.
Fine. No, there's 3, sorry. 5 easy pieces.
Oh.
I just bet one. I'm always going to know what it is, especially for all of my future Outburst games.
So much for that box being pristine.
It's just yeah, I know. Definitely can't resell this. Not going to be able to sell this for more than $2.99 anymore, that's for sure. All right.
Oh, it looks like Donnie had that one. Good job, Donnie.
Oh, he did. Yeah. Number 6 is Easy Rider.
I said Easy Rider. That was one of the first ones I said.
My bad.
That might have been the first one I said.
All right. Number 7, Carnal Knowledge.
Carnal Knowledge.
So here's the thing, Nix. I wasn't sure if we confirmed this Friday.
We had tentatively talked about this Friday. So we'll have to see if everybody's like comfortable enough. So we'll work on that.
I have no idea what I'm doing.
That's Nix's job to
correct.
Make sure that you're comfortable. You're in a safe space, Mike. So Mike, what was the last one? The last one, we're still gonna do it. It's 11:22. I could go, but it's probably better for everybody if we don't. But I look forward to this the next week.
Dude, I have so many more, except I gotta sort all these cards on the ground because I had too much Old Forester 1870. And I dropped that many cards. Okay. Our last topic of the night, Tim, is we polled 100 people and we asked them, give us your top 10 things you think of in regards to Halloween.
And Halloween?
Just Halloween, not the movie specifically, just Halloween.
Okay, so let me just first say John Carpenter's Halloween.
No.
Okay, scary movies.
No. This is
Dracula.
No.
Frankenstein.
No.
Candy.
Hey, number 9.
Costumes.
Number 5.
Parties.
Nope.
Trick-or-treating.
Number 6.
Pranks.
No.
Scary.
No.
Cemeteries.
No.
Pumpkins. Or jack-o'-lanterns.
Number 1.
Okay. Did I say ghosts?
Number 10.
Goblins or ghouls?
Number 7, goblins.
Oh, ghouls and goblins. See, zombies,
Nope.
monsters.
No.
I said
Nick.
costumes, right?
No. Oh, yeah, you did, and that was right.
Okay. Okay.
These are kind of generic.
I'm trying to
Very
go as
generic.
broad as I can. So I said ghosts, goblins, ghouls,
80s Halloween, correct. And
mummies.
yeah, there's no. One correct answer in the chat.
What about
150 card pickup.
let's see. What about I don't know. You always see them. Witches.
3.
Skeletons.
I don't think that was on here.
Werewolves.
No.
I said Frankenstein, right?
That was a no.
Yeah, you know, he never scared me. Frankenstein never scared me. You know what scares me? Bears. Because they're fast. Let's see. Horror.
No.
Spooky.
No.
How many do I have left?
3.
Autumn.
Some no. We've couple people have hit one of them. It's number 2. You're missing 2, 4, and 8. 8 is definitely very relevant today. This is still very popular today. He was kind of more old school, maybe more attached to witches and superstition. And number 4 is nope. Number
the devil.
4 is
devils, demons.
Number 4 is kind of very generic about the specific day.
Black cats.
There you go. That's number 2.
Okay. I'm sure Samhain is not on there. Or Sam Hain, if you want to pronounce it like Dr. Loomis.
Number 4 will always apply because it's extremely generic regarding the actual day.
October?
Warmer.
Fall?
Cold.
Autumn.
Colder.
October 31st.
No. There you go.
Okay.
October 31st.
It's always October 31st. I got one left, 2 left.
You got one left. I mean, I've been to one in the last couple years.
Costume party.
No.
Masquerade ball.
No, what else do you do? I mean, where would you go?
A bar?
Well, no.
Oh, a haunted house?
Yes, there it is, a haunted house.
I gotta give Jeff credit because I was trying not to look at the comments. That I popped up, I looked over and saw a haunted house. Right as you said it, he said it. So that was Jeff's answer that I used.
Cheating.
It's not totally cheating because I gave him the credit immediately.
Oh, that's definitely more modern, unless they had corn mazes back in the day. Although I will say the one in Shipshewana is really, really good, Tim. If you want to take the kids out there for the day, it's a good time.
My mother-in-law always takes my kiddos out to Amazing Acres out in Edwardsburg to do their corn maze. So yeah.
Nice. There you go. That was our Halloween themed section of Outburst. And I had like 40 other cards already pre-selected.
Mike, do me a favor.
Yes.
Pick one of those cards up off the floor and give me that one. And then we're gonna end the night on that.
I'm not even gonna look.
I don't want to know what it is.
do you want me to pick the other Halloween themed one that's already
No.
sitting on the table?
No,
All right.
just pick the one off the floor.
All right. They're double-sided.
I'll do
So
the
you
other
can
Halloween
pick
one
one.
too, but I want a rando one. I want a rando one.
I just got one card here that we can just call this. Well, there is one more. It's Halloween themed. Your call. All right. Magazines marketed primarily towards men.
Ooh. Okay. Okay.
Or subjects in school.
Subjects in school. Holy shit.
Yeah, that
Subjects in school.
seems easy. Good Lord.
No doubt.
All right.
You ready?
Yeah, I just would be shocked if you missed it.
Reading.
Wrong, you lost.
Writing.
Wrong, you lost.
Arithmetic.
Math. Well, math. Yeah.
History.
2.
Science.
4. And the first two things you mentioned are a more general subject.
English.
1.
Home ec.
No.
Shop.
No.
Speech.
No.
Typing.
No. This is 88.
Math, science, science, history, English.
You have those.
Art.
8.
Gym.
10. If this was modern day, they don't even teach that anymore.
Health. My daughter has gym class.
All right. Well, not every school does.
Health.
No.
Okay. Home ec. Did I say home ec?
No. And no.
And no.
Yes,
okay.
No. Jim says lunch.
Oh shit. That was my best class.
Is that a topic?
Let's see. We said speech, algebra, or is that under math?
That's
biology, music.
5.
It's like band or orchestra or choir.
Yep.
Drama, theater.
No. You're missing 3.
Oh, what about like religion?
No, this is not a private school.
History.
That was 2.
Spanish or French or German or Latin.
Foreign language. Stop cheating off of Donnie.
I'm not cheating off of Donnie. I'm not cheating off. What did Donnie say?
Does detention count?
Oh shit, that's good. That's good. What about
2 left?
Geography.
That's number 9. You got 1 left. It is loosely related to geography.
Oh, it's loosely okay. Because I was gonna say like geometry or algebra, but if it's
no, math is math, and that's only one of these.
Okay, so it's loosely related to geography, and it's not like world history.
No. I've not seen anybody say this one. I feel like all of us had this subject in school. And I guess they don't call it this anymore. Maybe they do. They do in like elementary, middle school. They probably still do in high school, maybe.
It's not like a specific type of history, right? Is it like civics?
No, but loosely.
Social studies?
Yes, there it is. There it is. And Jim just busted it out. So you copied off
like
his
social
homework.
Studies was like history class.
Social studies is more like the sociology of how different regions are, like their cultures and stuff, which is loosely affiliated to geography. So that's Jim was the first one that busted it out. He's right.
Jim's
I don't
rocking
know
it.
if they call it that in high school anymore. I think they still do in like middle
Well,
school.
Mallory does in middle school. She's got social studies, but it's basically history,
Yeah.
which was like
I
one of my best classes. History and
in high
biology.
feel like they broke it up into like history, and then social studies is more like cultural, and I don't know. Anyway,
Okay, so give me that
you
last
still got 'em all.
Halloween one and let's call it a night.
All right, last one, guys. And yes, I totally called Jim old. Loose. This is definitely Halloween themed. Our last topic of the night is monsters. Pre 1989.
Okay, you ready?
I'm ready.
Vampires.
No.
Dracula,
No.
werewolves, or the Wolfman.
Number 3 is Wolfman.
Okay, the Mummy.
No.
The Invisible Man.
No.
Freddy
But
Krueger.
you're on to something. No.
Uh,
Definitely some
Creature from the
other.
Black Lagoon.
Number 9.
Okay. Let's see. Jason Voorhees.
No.
Frankenstein's monster.
Number 2.
Or Frankenstein.
Wait, you said vampires. Dracula's 1. Sorry.
Oh, come on, man.
Yeah, my bad. I was looking at.
I was like, how's vampires not on there? We're in trouble. The Bride of Frankenstein.
No, and it's
Just
not
going-
The Thing either, Bob.
Oh, well, they can't all be winners.
Not The Blob.
The monsters. Okay, so the Boogeyman.
No, I thought that would be on here too.
Baba Yaga.
Let's see. Man, one of these I wouldn't immediately think of as a monster. It was an extremely popular movie in the early 80s.
In the early 80s. Well, was King Kong?
Number 7.
Godzilla?
That's number 5.
Okay. The Body Snatchers.
No.
Okay, extremely popular movie in the 80s. Michael Myers.
No.
Jason Voorhees.
Nope.
And you said no to Freddy Krueger already.
Yeah, you're missing 3.
Aliens.
No. Think more cutesy.
Cutesy.
Yeah.
Like E.T.? Or Gremlin?
Farmer.
Or Mogwai?
Yeah.
A Gremlin.
Gremlins is number 6.
Okay.
Number 8 is much older.
Okay. Monster. Serial killer.
I mean, the original is based off of like a 1920s film.
Nosferatu.
And one of them is more like a cryptid almost, but it's got monster in the name.
Oh. So it's not like Bigfoot or Loch Ness Monster.
Loch Ness Monster is number 10.
That's the cryptid. Okay. Who did Boris Karloff play? And then there's like Bela Lugosi, Lon Chaney.
Case.
Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde.
Yes.
What about then the Phantom of the Opera?
No. You know what's so funny about the one that you're missing? It's just right in your backyard. It's so funny to me.
Is
right
it
in your backyard.
See, there's Dracula.
It is
God.
physically in your backyard.
Oh, is it what's in my backyard? Uh
It is just, man, if it could just slap you in the head right now and it could just be resting on your head and resting on your head in your own backyard. You
a
could
black
spend
cat?
you could spend every Saturday just
The
uh
leprechaun?
no. You're so close with that. Think French
uh La leprechaun.
or think Irish.
La Notre Dame. Notre Dame.
All right.
So the Hunchback of Notre Dame.
Yes!
Oh,
Said it's in your backyard.
think
It's
French.
resting on your head.
Yeah, yeah. It
Oh,
is
my
literally
literal head.
let's see. Which way is my house facing? It is a mile that way.
Yeah, it's a mile.
It's a mile that way.
Northwest of you, right?
No, southwest of me, but yeah.
Okay. All right. There you go. Outburst.
We got all of them.
Which we're never going to do again because all the cards are sitting on there. Because I had too much Old Forester and dropped them all.
Oh man. That was super fun, Mike. I appreciate you doing that.
I know you'd like that.
Thank you for throwing some trivia at me. I want to do it again. That is one of those things where I could keep going like nonstop.
You expect me to go through all these damn cards on the ground?
Dude, all I expect you to do is leave them there for next week, pick a random one up off the floor, and let's see how I do. Like
that's true, Bob. I do have pants on. Was that discussed when I got up to take my piss break?
not this time. I was going to throw you on the bus
Okay.
in front of the bus with John there, but
Good
y'all
shit.
have been awesome. Thanks for being here post Halloween and hanging with us. In a couple of weeks, we're going to be reaching out to a bunch of you guys about trying to come on, even if it's just for 10, 15 minutes. Come on, tell us what your game of the year is. What's your maybe your favorite gaming moment of the year, and make sure you like, subscribe, do all the things. But you guys freaking rock. I love you. It's so much fun.
I flashed my crotch area. Well, if you didn't see a whole lot, then just assume I've got pants or shorts on at least.
Hey, for all you folks that are into bears, there you go. You got one right there. There you go.
You
Mike.
guys are all awesome. If you have not yet, please smash that thumb. We really, really appreciate it. We appreciate you guys with the comments all night that are hilarious. And man, it was really cool to finally talk to John. Like I've just been eyeballing his stuff for, again, a year now. And he was just super cool. Really brought it with this topic. And I hope we can get him on the anniversary episode too.
That'd be cool. I'm going to try really hard to get Donnie to come on, even just for a minute. I know he's shy. But man, Donnie, I'm gonna put you on the spot, dude. I'd love to have you on even just for a minute. Just say, hey, do a thing. Yeah. And Jeff, man, don't be a stranger. Pop by, man. It was super fun. Good to see you. Hope all is well. So
yeah,
Jeff was an editor early on in the show and really, really helped out and provided some great ideas regarding the growth and everything.
Yeah, we need to get, somebody else from, affiliated with Third World Studios on the show. Everybody's getting tired of Googs. So
come on. Nobody gets tired of Googs.
I'm kidding. No, he's great.
But we got it.
I joke because you 100% know that he's awesome and he will definitely be here when we tell him about the anniversary episode.
Oh, he was the first person I was going to reach out to because I knew he'd say
exactly.
yes.
Yes,
I knew he'd say
exactly.
yes. If he's got the time, he'll be there. So,
Yeah.
anyways.
November 29th, that is very close to our 1-year anniversary of Whiskey Wednesdays. So everybody that has been a host, including Jim and John and other people I've seen in the chat, we're going to ask you to come back on November 29th. We will be reaching out. It'll be a blast. Our anniversary Whiskey Wednesday, 1 year.
Can't wait for the board game rundown. Thank you so much for being here as part of another Whiskey Wednesday. Cannot wait. But for the board game rundown, I've been Tim.
That was Mike.
Woo! We will see you live next week.
Next time. See ya.